Here we go again.
Uh-oh, here we go again.
All right. So I didn't want to have to make another video on Adonis School, but lately it's had some resurgence for some reason. Apparently there's something called the school games going on, which has caused my channel to gain some traction via the prior videos I've made on Adonis School. Not sure what this is, what the school games is. I haven't been following the self-improvement space for a while, and especially not in the prior month or so. I've just finished an exam at the time of starting this script, in which I go on hiatus. I take some extra days off my jobs. I don't create content for my brand. I don't check as much stock market related stuff. I don't go to the gym, and I get a little lax on the diet. It's a full focus and hone in on my exam study, the same way LeBron James used to do those zero dark periods on his social media during the playoffs in the 2010s. So if all that was happening was Adonis School had more buzz around it due to some cyclical thing, I would have just not made this video you're watching now. It would make sense from a brand growth perspective to capitalize on some hype, but it's kinda sad just to grow a brand via trendjacking and talking about others, although I know it has worked for many other channels before. And it works with things like sports. All sports channels is talking about other people, but that's not what my channel is about. It's centered around self-improvement and progressing in the game of life, but unlike most other channels in this genre, I don't tell you to spend all your time starting an online business, going to the gym and meditating, as well as telling you to buy my course for only $999 on how I became rich. I provide tips and guidance that align with reality. You gotta operate under the rules in the game of life. You gotta know the rule book to play the game. So that mini side tangent was to show that the purpose of this video existing is not a failed attempt at trendjacking, especially now, since at the 18th of April 2024, I think whatever the school games are is over, and this will probably take me a few weeks at least to make, so I would have missed the boat on the trendjacking anyway. The reason I'm making this is because I saw an email during my hiatus from Hamza about the true value of Adonis School, and I'm like, okay, I'll bite.
Okay, I'll bite.
What is this? And to my not surprise, it was a random assortment of figures slapped into an email. I also wouldn't have made this video if this was just some random fanboy in the comments section of some video typing about what he thought Adonis School was valued at. But since Hamza himself shared it and actually somehow believes this, it's time for me to debunk this. Haters will say he lives rent-free in my head. Believe whatever you want. I don't care about what he does personally. He isn't the only grifter on the planet. And we have CoffeeZilla to debunk all the A-tier scammers anyway. So I assume all the grifters live rent-free in CoffeeZilla's head? But I do care about the younger generation of men. A lot of you are at an impressionable stage in your life, and if all you watch in your algorithm is a circle jerk of manosphere content, you'll become convinced that paying an exorbitant amount of money for some guy's school is a good idea. I'm here to save your bank account, and by directly making a video talking about Adonis School, videos like this should hit your algorithm. It seems to have worked in the past. Okay, so preamble is done. I'll start dissecting the value of Adonis School. Now, for anyone who doesn't know exactly what is going on, I'll give a quick rundown. This self-improvement channel under the name of Hamza was once a pretty helpful channel to a lot of younger guys. I found him quite arrogant at first, and, well, that view has only strengthened lately. But at least I was glad he was doing more net good overall than bad. Helping guys improve themselves, you love to see it. However, recently he started sprouting nonsense. His ego has gotten way out of hand. You could say he's on the decline, but the worst part is, now he's created this online community he calls a school, and he teaches you self-improvement stuff. It's all nonsense. Not only is the info in this school extremely overpriced, but a lot of it is also just not helpful. You're wasting time learning how to talk better or whatever, and yet most guys he targets are around 16 to 17. This is the time you should be starting to crack down on your studies so you can get into the university/college of your choice, working hard at your current job and moving up the ladder, or gaining new skills so you can transfer to a better company, or dropping out of school and pursuing a trade. Well, in Australia, and I hear the United States anyway, trades make good coin. They're just disrespected due to outdated thinking. I'll talk more about this career stuff later in the video. So impressionable young dudes are wasting money, time and resources on some basically useless and impractical information at a very important formative part of their lives. The decisions you make in your late teens and early 20s can literally shape your future. Of course, you can recover from bad decisions at a later date, but the compounding effects of getting shit done earlier in life provide far greater results than if you were to get your shit together later in life. So now I'm going to dissect this email and show you why this is most certainly not worth $21,000. Here is the email in question. The title of it is what caught my attention. True value of Adonis School, calculating its actual value. Now, Hamza hasn't bothered to correct anything. He's just ran with these figures. And notice the language he uses here. Stop fantasizing about making money and getting girls. Join Adonis School and just make it happen. It's always using money and girls as bait to draw you in. Classic online schemes. If you want to stop fantasizing about making money, you can just go and get a job at your local fast food joint. That's how you can get money. As for the girls thing, I'll dissect this later. So the student says, I calculated what Adonis School is truly worth. I was wondering how much it was worth and thought I'd share this with you all after I was done with the calculations. This is as of April 3rd, 2024. So April 3rd was during my hiatus for my exam. I can't help but feel he was maybe questioning his decision to join. Why else would he be calculating the value of the program that he's in? That'd be like me calculating the value of my tutor I had for my financial reporting subject for my CPA studies, or calculating the value of the program itself, then dissecting things bit by bit. Example, the knowledge on deferred tax is worth $500. Oh, sorry, it's a scammy thing, so its value instead would be $499. So deferred tax knowledge, $499. Information on business combinations and other comprehensive income, $399. Information on forward contracts to hedge against spot price fluctuations in commodities, $799, etc., etc. But I'm only paying $1,260 per subject. What value? Similar stuff applies with my tutor. Oh, they're teaching me about this thing. That must be worth $299. This lesson is worth $399. Learning about this is $2,999, etc., etc. I'm enrolled in the program since I know there's a long-term benefit to my career. I can unlock jobs that pay well over $140,000 by having my CPA, as it's a requirement for these roles. And lately, I've seen them as high as $150,000 plus. But I need this qualification, as that's what the rules of the accounting labour market dictate. I have to play the game of life. The rules of my main quest dictate that, for my career, I need the CPA. No questions asked. Go and get it. Stop complaining about it. You don't have the power to change the rules. You got to play the game. But anyway, that's just something interesting to note. Why are you trying to work out the exact value of you being in this school if you weren't questioning it? Maybe it's a cynical point of view. Maybe bro was just curious. Fair enough. But it can't be ruled out that maybe he was questioning the actual value in here and made this as a cope. So, the courses. Now, this guy talks about these courses as if they're part of the value in Adonis School. Yet, I've had a fanboy whinge in my comments section about how the value of this school is the community and the courses are just a bonus. And I suppose Hamza himself has said Adonis School is a private online community.
Adonis School is a private online community that you can join to make friends who are just like you, who are on self-improvement.
when they could have just said it was both a community and an educational group. Beginner money courses, $999. I've got a beginner money course for you. Don't pay $999 to learn about money for beginners. You should start by earning more. People always say it's not what you earn, it's what you spend. Wrong, it's both. If you only make $100 a week, that's $5,200 a year. It doesn't matter if you save 100% of that somehow. The most you'd end up with is $5,200 per year. Conversely, if I made $1,000 a week, that's $52,000 a year. If I spent 50% of that, I'd have $26,000 left. Despite spending half my income, I still have more to show for it than the other person who saved 100% of their money. There is no way any beginner course on money is worth $999. The only way I can see any money-related course being worth $999 is if it was some genius hack on exploiting inefficiencies in the options market. In that sense, you'd make your money's worth on that course easily, but not for a beginner course on money. No way. Generic money tricks for beginners can be found for free online everywhere. And before the fanboys counter with the argument, well, Hamza makes more money than you do realize he has heaps of money because you're paying him, right? Most of his income comes from Adonis School. Where does that money come from? You. That's a money lesson for you. It's not like there's some elaborate trick with money. You provide perceived value to someone, whether that be an employer in the sake of a job/career, or another business/other people in the sake of a business, and they remunerate you in exchange. The higher paying jobs/careers are due to providing a specific service/skill set that the industry/business values, coupled with a low supply of that particular skill, and you've got a recipe for high income. So anyway, just because Hamza has more money than me doesn't mean he knows more about it than I do, or any of yous watching. If that's the case, and I have no clue about money because I'm not a multi-millionaire in my 20s, then click off the video and go watch the Kardashians or Amaranth for financial tips. They have way more money than me, so they must know more about money than me, right? It's not because some degenerate simps are paying Amaranth goddamn millions a month for her fucking OnlyFans. It's because she's so savvy with her money. She must have gone to Adonis School and took his beginner money course and is now making millions. And in the sake of the Kardashians, it's not like a bunch of people are watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians or buying Kylie Jenner's makeup or anything. No, they must have gone to Adonis School and taken his money courses. So, beginner money course can't be valued at $999. Its true value is about an hour of your time. Since you can go and find generic beginner money tricks online for free, it'll probably take you an hour to find the answers. YouTube courses, $1,499. No doubt the fanboys are going to target me for this one, talking about a YouTube course from someone who isn't even ad monetized. So what do I know, right? I know the whole shtick of loud booming text/noises at the start of the video to attract attention, shorter videos so you could have better average watch times, clickbait titles and thumbnails, video editor for flashy images to keep retention, yada yada. There isn't as much editing for this specific video since it's my first one back from hiatus, and this is going to be too long for me to edit without it taking me damn near 2 months. And I also know a lot of you guys only listen to my videos anyway, so I'd be essentially wasting a lot of time adding in extra bits and bobs for next to no return on the time investment. Plus, I don't really need it for this specific video anyway. I'm dissecting some prices, there's not a lot of visual aids I can provide. Okay, gamification of life, if you know all this YouTube stuff, then why don't you use it on your channel? Simple, because my channel isn't my main source of income. In fact, it's not even a source of income at all. I don't need to rely on YouTube tricks for my livelihood. And plus, I love to yap, so it's not like I can shorten my videos down. And even if I did, I'd miss out on providing the extra content and nuances involved with some of my recommendations. Example, my career video. If I shortened that to 10 minutes, you'd get questions like, what about this career? Or why did you say this career was bad? Or why did you suggest looking at this thing instead of that? Sometimes you need the longer video, so you can provide all the important context. And above all else, if you totally dismiss my argument because I don't have 1 million subs, then in that case, why don't you listen to PewDiePie or Mr. Beast for advice on growing a channel over Hamza? They have way more subs than he does. Why does Hamza have authority on growing a channel when there are others with way more? Maybe you can argue, well, more than 1 million subs is enough for me. Well, fair enough. But it doesn't rebut the point that you can find this YouTube course information for free online. Again, I know this, and I've only briefly looked at the YouTube game before. No way is this worth $1,499. Yes, growing a YouTube channel can provide a much greater return on investment than a $1,499 investment, but why don't you just see what the other big channels are saying? I've seen Mr. Beast do some interviews/podcasts, and you didn't need to pay a paywall for this either. I've seen some fanboys say that they actually learned a lot in Adonis School and grew their online income/channels, but they provided zero proof. Like, they commented on my channel via a blank channel. Why don't you comment from your big channel in that case? Maybe for brand goodwill, aka you don't want your brand to be seen getting into arguments online, but there's no way the industry you operate in is that sensitive. Like, oh no, my audience saw me argue with a small-ass channel, I just lost all my subs. Surely that's not the case. So I don't really buy the argument that these fanboys grew huge incomes from info from Adonis School. I'm yet to see proof. If proof can be provided, I'll eat my words and give an apology. Even so, unless that's common/the norm and not an exception, the point stands that Adonis School is just burning money. I don't mean to backtrack on eating my own words and being proven wrong about the whole learning about online income thing, but there's 2,000 students in Adonis School now, and since Hamza provides proof/provides screenshots of what his students talk about in the school, surely you would have seen him post something about more than 1,000 of my students made $10,000 in online income this month. But nope, haven't seen it yet. If it did happen, no doubt Hamza would be promoting that all over his social media accounts. And I'm actually going to mention more on this later. I've actually got proof from a former student that not many Adonis students are actually making any money at all. But that'll be towards the end of this video. So anyway, to wrap up the YouTube course section, the value is not $1,499. You can find the info online for free. There's also much better teachers for this. I'm most certainly not one of them, but there are better teachers for this stuff. Monetizing your audience, $1,499. This is exactly what he's done with Adonis School. You have an audience, aka eyeballs on you, and then you sell them stuff/get money from them. Usually you provide some additional benefit behind a paywall that builds on your free information. Example, in the finance/stock market realm, the creators will sell access to a Discord group where they give live updates on stock movements, whereas in their free videos, they'll talk about the stock market and what happened during the day after all the price movement has happened. The same way Hamza has provided free info on self-improvement, and now he's locking some of that behind a paywall. No clue why this is $1,499. It's in the name. Monetize your audience. Sell some memberships, products, services, etc. to the people who are watching you. NBA athletes and athletes in general do this. NBA athletes, for example, will sell a shoe or a sneaker or whatever. Did they take the Adonis School course of monetizing your audience? No, they just had eyeballs on them via their brand, and they sold something. And they actually made sales due to the sheer volume of eyeballs on them. Same with merchandise for YouTubers. There's nothing special about the fabrics used in their clothes. The only thing different is the clothing is associated with a different brand name. Redpill courses, $1,999. Okay, this is a juicy segment. So for you guys who don't know, there's a concept going around called the red pill. Now, it doesn't seem like there's a definitive definition of this. It seems everyone uses red pill versus blue pill in some sort of matrix analogy. The way I've interpreted this, in the sense of dating/girls/the manosphere's point of view, is that the red pill infers you need to have money and to be in shape to get girls. There's also the blue pill in terms of dating, and the black pill. I've also heard of the white pill, which refers to being more optimistic on things, but that's not super relevant to the concept of dating/getting girls, which is what the context of these pills is about in this situation. I'll post the main points on screen, and correct me if I'm wrong in the sense of dating/attracting girls in the sense of these pills, but as far as I'm aware, and from what I've seen over the years, the blue pill infers women will like you for you. Just be yourself. She'll like you for who you are. The red pill is, gotta get money, bro, gotta get rich and go to the gym, then you'll get women. And the black pill refers to, it's over. Women are attracted to traits that are mostly genetic, such as height, face, and race. Now, funnily enough, I was going to do a designated video on this topic after my hiatus anyway, before I saw this Adonis School email, but now this has just provided more fuel for that video. So whatever information in this red pill course is not worth $1,999. Again, info is online for free, but it's also the fact that the red pill isn't the magic solution to getting girls that it's marketed as. Yes, some red pill concepts help, but it's not a guaranteed solution, which is how Hamza keeps marketing his Adonis School with his constant, join Adonis School to get girls. I have another example of this later in the video. I will save all my thoughts for another time, but in short, $1,999 is not the value for a red pill course. It's $0. Not only is it not the magic solution it's being sold as, but it also contains info that's readily available online for free. Plenty of red pill related channels out there. Basically, just look at any other male self-improvement channel. Relationship courses, $999. Funny coincidence here, because I was also going to make another video about relationships and whatnot, but if I elaborate too much on that now, not only will I have no extra content/thoughts for that video, but this one will be even longer than it's already going to be. But for now, let's think about it. You're paying someone else to tell you how to act in a relationship? What I'm about to say is blue-pilled advice, and spoiler alert for my blue/red/black pill video, but I believe the blue pill is the least effective of these. I'll elaborate in that video on why though. But you need to be yourself in the relationship, because what's the alternative? Put on a facade the entire relationship? Do you want to wake up every day and have to start acting from the get-go, along with everything else you have in your daily life? Let's use an example. If you like sports, hate Taylor Swift, hate horse riding, and aren't a fan of spending heaps on your girl, but your prospective girlfriend and eventual girlfriend has an attraction to you physically, but also hates sports, loves Taylor Swift, loves horse riding, and likes a traditional guy in the sense where they pay for everything, how long would you be willing to keep up that facade? Are you going to go the rest of your life, assuming the relationship works out, hiding your love for sport, your hatred for Taylor Swift and horse riding, and bleeding your wallet dry just to maintain your relationship? That's a recipe for disaster. Yes, your girl would probably be happy, but don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Don't be a simp, have some dignity, be authentic to yourself. What is supposed to happen is you're meant to meet someone and you just naturally jive. Your personalities suit/complement each other well. Personal example, I have a dark sense of humor. If my personal private Instagram DMs got leaked and the authorities got hold of the memes my friends and I send to each other, not only would I be automatically fired from both of my jobs, and not only would I be deported from Australia, but they would reinstate the death penalty for me specifically.
Oh my God, they want to reinstate the death penalty for you specifically. What did you do?
Obviously, that's a huge exaggeration, but you get the point. But if I met a girl and she had a normal sense of humor, I'm not going to hide my memes from her. I'd send her those same memes like I do with my friends. If we are incompatible, so be it. Sometimes people are just incompatible. That's why not every person you know is your friend. That's why not everyone you work with, you're best buddies with. That's life. Why do you get turned down for job offers sometimes? Because sometimes you're just not compatible. Yes, maybe you aren't qualified enough / there's someone better, but in some cases, you're just not compatible in the workplace. Same with a relationship / dates. Not every first date leads to a lifetime together. Why? Sometimes people are just incompatible. Don't be acting like Ditto from Pokemon and transforming yourself to suit the situation. So that is to say, you have to be yourself, not because she'll love you for you. That's rubbish advice. If she loved you for you, wouldn't everyone in the world love everyone for who they are? Why doesn't every single girl in your life want to be with you if she'll love you for you? Because the blue pill is largely ineffective for dating. However, you do need to be yourself for a relationship to work out, because you can't put on a perpetual facade. So even if we debunked the be yourself thing, the relationship advice now implies all women are the same. This is how you should act in a relationship, and every single girl ever will appreciate this. Again, not how it works in reality. I have some female friends who are very woke, if that makes sense. Like, they'll be on whatever the woke side of an argument is. Meanwhile, I know some who are more edgy and have a darker sense of humor, and their boyfriends match accordingly. The more soft girls have more soft boyfriends, whilst the more edgy ones have more edgy boyfriends. It's not like the docile feminist is dating some hardcore edgelord. Conversely, it's not like the more relaxed, nonchalant girl is with some soy boy pussy either. There was some mutual attraction based on physical appearances, and their personalities happen to work well with each other. That's how a relationship happens. If a girl is a fat land whale, I don't care if she likes basketball, stocks, has a good career, and dark humor. The relationship wouldn't work with me, since I don't have a physical attraction to that. And that's important in a relationship, whether people admit it or not. Conversely, if a girl looked like Hailey Van Lith or Taylor Rooks, but she hated basketball, thought the stock market was a wasted time, didn't care for having her own career, and was very against dark humor, the relationship wouldn't work. Yes, the physical attraction is there, but our personalities don't jive. There's your relationship course for you. Physical attraction, which is why the black pill triumphs and the red pill is somewhat effective, and a personality that just so happens to match, which is why the blue pill is somewhat effective. No need to value Adonis School's relationship course at $999. Just value it at $0. Just try real-world experiences. It's like that saying, a poor plan executed today is better than a perfect plan executed in 10 years. But I do have a relationship video coming in the future, as I mentioned before, where I'll go through all the different options and scenarios. If you're struggling getting in a relationship, you either 1, simply aren't attractive enough, change your hairstyle/glasses, look at getting your teeth whitened, especially if you have brown skin like I do, maybe consider braces if your teeth are really crooked, and change your physical appearance too. You will need to spend some time at a higher body fat percentage to pack on muscle, but in terms of your face, being leaner is simply the trick. Get down to 10% body fat and see how much it changes your face. Do look at mewing. There's debates whether it actually works or not though, and although I do it myself, most of the benefits in your face come from just being leaner. I chew gum every morning until my first tea break at work. Mewing stuff aside, I do this to help blunt my hunger before my first tea break. So yeah, no relationship? It's either 1, you aren't attractive enough, 2, you're desperate for one, and it's somewhat obvious. People don't like desperation. It's the same with guys, is it not? Some girl I used to know from my time as a basketball referee would always whinge once a week about why she's single. I guess it's different for dudes, because dudes have no shame. They just shoot their shot with a desperate chick. Even back in 2012/2013, but I remember one Facebook status she made, and it said, "If guys like curvy girls, then why am I single?" Now, her tits weren't that big. She probably had some ass from memory, but doesn't that just kind of turn you off a little? The constant desperation for a relationship? And even if you made that relationship work, you'd start to wonder, does she really like me, or am I just filling a void? Is my role just boyfriend, a role that could realistically be filled by many people? You're quite replaceable. Maybe she didn't have a mutual attraction for me, and maybe my personality doesn't jive with hers. Maybe I'm just a placeholder in her life. I'll talk more about this in an upcoming relationship-focused video, but for the sake of relaying this back to Adonis School, you can't pay someone money to give you guaranteed steps to be in a relationship. Now, I've talked about points 1 and 2 as to why you may not have a relationship, and point number 3 is because the black pill triumphs. This may shock some of my audience, but I am mostly black-pilled, despite the fact I come across as red-pilled. This is due to what I've seen play out in my everyday life. I don't totally subscribe to the black pill, but I think it explains about 60% of dating outcomes, 30% is explained by the red pill, and 10% is explained by the blue pill. It's at least what I've seen play out in real life, and it also correlates with much of what I've seen via the internet. But I'll elaborate more in my blue, red, black pill video. If you have questions about this, they'll most likely be answered in that video. You can leave a comment on what your specific question is, but I may just respond with, it'll be answered in that video. But we shall move on. The Adonis School relationship course is not valued at $999. It's valued at $0. You can't rely on anyone else to tell you how to handle your relationship. If you want one, your best bet is to improve your appearance. It's not a guaranteed method of success, but it's the best option you realistically have, since changing your personality doesn't work in the long term and provides only 10% of the success I've seen in terms of dating anyway. Meanwhile, red pill explains 30%, which is the only remaining option you have to subscribe to, since there isn't much you can change involving the black pill's point of view. Again, I'll elaborate in that upcoming video. Now, 4 is possibly just some other random reason. Just because you aren't in a relationship doesn't mean my prior 3 points are the definitive reason, but you need to consider the aforementioned 3 reasons. People would just ignore the fact that maybe their appearance isn't as good as it could be, or they don't realize how desperate they're coming off as, or some black pill related reason is the reason why. One option is perhaps there just aren't many single women in your area / circle of acquaintances. Who knows? But it's all talking points for the relationship-specific video as well as the black, blue, red pill one. Next up, Success Skills Courses, $1,499. How ambiguous. Success skills define success, like having money / getting money, success with women. What's success? It can't be with women since you've already got the red pill course and relationship course, unless he's just recycling content / advice and packaging it in another course, which wouldn't surprise me to be honest, and actually, this theory is proved later in the video when I do a little reaction segment to former Adonis School students. So this Success Skills course, maybe it's about money, but you already have a beginner money course. Is it about money management? If so, there's free resources online everywhere from so many different people on ways to manage money. And even then, I'd imagine he'd be recycling content from the beginner money course. I could speculate, but then I'd be going on tangents for something that may not even be applicable to what the course is teaching. Now, here come the fanboys who will say, well, just pay for Adonis School and find out yourself. Bruh, I ain't paying fucking $750 plus to join and gather that intel. It's $750 plus because I'm in Australia and Adonis School is priced in US dollars, so tack on another 1.5 times to adjust for the foreign exchange fluctuation. And also, I've seen enough Hamza to know this ambiguously named Success Skills course is going to be vague as fuck anyway. And even then, I've seen former students themselves confirm my analysis. I used this example in a prior video, but you don't buy / invest in something, then make a judgment call. That's not how stock trading works, let alone my job as an accountant. Imagine I invest in some project at work and my boss is like, why did you do that? And I'm like, well, find out for yourself. How can you make a judgment call on something you didn't even invest in yourself? Or maybe you should just buy a stock, just cause, you'll buy it and then find out if it was a good idea. Fuck due diligence, am I right? Even then, as I said before, the former Adonis School students confirmed everything I've said in prior videos. If the Success Skills courses were so great at teaching success, then where is the success from everyone? Is the success in the room with us right now? Anyway, I've yapped enough about this ambiguously titled section. Let's move on. Oh, Another ambiguous title. Yay. Other courses, $999. So, courses as in plural. Why are these courses, plural, valued at $999 together, but separate individual courses are valued at like $1,499? Like, what is this valuation? Anyway, at least I don't have to worry about dissecting this one. How can you dissect this other? Other as in like what? It's funny because in my first video on Adonis School, I mentioned how there isn't much Hamza could teach you. Yet another thing I was right about. Also, recall the screenshots I showed in the first Adonis School video. I got the receipts.
I got receipts, dude! I got receipts!
He said he'd teach you about a career and even investments. If you did teach them, now's a good time to list them. Oh wait, it's because he can't teach them. The fanboys countered this argument initially with, they'll have teachers in Adonis School for that. But yet, there were no teachers teaching this, and there has been no courses listed relating to a career or investments in this email. And I also know that since I've had former students confirm it. And even so, the homepage once said, Hamza himself will be teaching, not some randoms, and yet you get into the school and there's randoms teaching you. They've changed the wording now on the homepage, but imagine you're some impressionable kid. You really want to talk to Hamza face to face for some fucking reason. You use your parents' credit card or all the money you earned from working part-time minimum wage high schooler type jobs, and now you're met with some random teaching you stuff. What a letdown. I won't harp on it too much since they did remove that, and I will kinda let the career and investments thing slide since they also don't seem to mention that anymore, but keep in mind they did once list it, and yet there's no evidence of it ever being taught in the school. And, in fact, I recall seeing former students say they got kicked from the school due to talking about a conventional career. Wow. From once saying they'll teach you about it, to now kicking you out for mentioning it. This also adds fuel to the fire of the fact that Hamza keeps flip-flopping. First, he wanted to train in the mountains to be a fighter or whatever. Apparently he quit the day after that from what I've seen. Like he quit within one day. I'll post the videos of where I saw it on screen.
And 4 months later, he uploads why I never became a fighter. That's weird. How can someone talk about something with such vehement passion and then go back on it? Well, at least he did give it a whole 4 months.
At the end of the day, the first day of being in this fight camp, I go and sit down and journal in my room. And I just ask myself a question, is this authentic?
So you're telling me he quit this newfound metamorphosis after 1 day? 1 day?
These guys follow Hamza more closely, so they'd have better intel on his personal life than I do, because I don't really give a shit. If he never made Adonis School, I would have never mentioned him again. But anyway, he's like, no more content, to coming back not long after, to going back to making those highly edited videos again, to wanting to become a father and even having preparing to be a father in his social media bios, to breaking up with his girlfriend and wanting to live the party life. Then he made Adonis Gang, which cost $5. Then it was free. I don't know, he flip-flops a lot. A common argument for this is, well, he's growing and developing. Things change. Yes, correct, but he changes so drastically. It's not improving in any way. He's just swung back to what he was already doing. He's just swinging from one thing to another, but neither movement is progressing forward. From not creating content to go fight in the mountains, to coming back to creating YouTube videos, from stopping his party antics to becoming a father, psych, back to becoming a party rat, back to partying. Since he flip-flops a lot, I need to re-mention the fact that he once had those on the homepage of Adonis School, the fact that he said he will teach himself and not some randoms, that he'd teach about a career and investments. It's just another example of him flip-flopping. Normally you don't want to hold something like this against someone. If they made a mistake / realized that they were false advertising or just not going to teach something and aren't doing it anymore, that's fine, move on. But it's just too common with Hamza. A criticism against him is your audience is too large for you to flip-flop like this, but I'm not even that fussed about this particularly. I'm more so on his case because his ego is so huge. Like, bro can't accept the fact that he's flip-flopping like a Maggie cup after Team Galactic blew up their lake. He's just dismissing it as, oh, you haven't changed, lol, no self-improvement from you, Jeffrey. It's valid criticism, yet he chalks it up to everyone else just not improving. Like, dude, what exactly have you improved about yourself in the last couple of years? Yes, physique and money is up. Yes, that's good, but a lot of people have also done that. The way he's acting, you'd think he cured cancer or something. Like, I'm okay with people changing their decisions regardless of how big their audience is. It's just, don't charge people for this information then. Like, don't charge this exorbitant amount of money to have a bunch of people follow you on your journey, which doesn't even have a straight line. Like, just keep money out of it and you're golden. Like, I've somewhat flip-flopped before myself. If you saw this video I made around the middle of 2022, during my family holiday in Ireland, I considered pivoting into a career in the Treasury Department of the state government. Now, that's sort of a flip-flop. It's not my current career path, but it is still in the realm of a career and accounting. Now, back then I didn't realize my career was a straight line path towards a finance manager role. If I had known that, I would have never considered switching. I knew my role wasn't a dead-end role, but I didn't know exactly what exit opportunities it would give me. And additionally, this was before the meeting I had with my senior managers in which they discussed pay raises for me. So basically, I was really underpaid for a while, and they're rectifying that issue now, but I thought I'd be chronically underpaid for essentially the whole time I would be at that job. Hence another reason I was looking at flip-flopping. But even so, the flip-flopping wasn't that bad. I was still on the same sort of career path. Yikes, another side tangent. Oh well, it was relevant. So, other courses, $999? I don't think so. Live calls, $4,999. Is this $5,000 of value each live call, or is this amortized over the lifespan of the entire duration of Adonis School? Also, skipping forward a bit, he mentions how one-on-one calls with Hamza are worth $2,500 for 30 minutes. But yet a live call is worth double that? Isn't Hamza the one doing the live call? From what I've seen, that's what it is. Like, yes, a one-on-one call is valued higher than a group session. We learned that in my personal training course. Instead of getting a client to pay $60 for a session, for example, you can get them to join with someone else for like $40 each for the same session. So you as a personal trainer get more bang for your buck, and the clients get a cheaper rate. But even I'm confused on how this guy has reached these numbers. Not only the fact that each course is valued at a certain dollar amount, and the calls are valued at a certain dollar amount, despite the fact that these courses are a one-off educational course, and the live calls are a recurring thing, but now one call directly with Hamza is worth half the whole lifetime value of all live calls. And if it was the value of all lifetime live calls, that puts the value of each call at a tiny amount. Let's say there was one call a month, and the $4,999 is 1 year of value, even though we know it's not. That's about $417 per call. And that's assuming they're that infrequent. I'd be shocked if they were only once a month. But I recall hearing that was the case somewhere. And this also assumes only 12 months of Adonis School. His value calculation is lifetime. I'm trying to work out the exact ratio between a Hamza live call and a Hamza one-on-one call, but I think I'm trying to just dissect some nonsensical numbers here. So it can't make sense no matter how you slice it. And what value exactly is in these live calls? Is the value the information in these live calls? If so, what information are you talking about? Are you talking about any of the value mentioned in the courses that were previously listed in Adonis School? If so, then 1, that makes sense. It's not like they could be talking about anything else that has any inherent value. But 2, now you've diminished the value of what's in these courses. Like, if you have $1,499 of value in your YouTube course, and now you're talking about it on a live call, the value of some of that information has now been moved to the live calls. And if you talked about everything in the YouTube course in your live calls, you'd debit live calls, $1,499, credit YouTube course, $1,499, as accountants would say. You can't just recycle the value between accounts. That's like if I took $100 from my sports betting account and moved it to my bank account, and now my bank account has $100 more. My sports betting account is now down $100, but I'm not counting this. I'm only counting the value at a point in time. So I'd be saying I have $100 in my sports betting account and $100 in my bank account. I've recycled the value between accounts instead of splitting them up. So unless something brand new that actually contains value is in these live calls, no way they're valued at $5,000. The only other method I can think of is if the value is related to being in a community of high value men.
I'm a pretty high value man, a good
which, as we can see here in the next point, has already been accounted for. Even so, the value here is 0. The only way this could be valuable is if you networked with someone who works high up in some well-paying company and you met them via this group, which I 100% doubt. I guess the value is having friends who aren't degenerates. Fair enough, I guess, but there's always a Facebook group or Reddit forum that's dedicated to something like this. I mentioned this in the prior video, and a counter-argument was, well, I've never had any serious advice on Reddit. It's probably because you asked some generic question or some question that's perceived to be dumb / had no thought put into it, or you're the one perceiving the advice as unhelpful. Just because it didn't come from Hamza's mouth doesn't mean it wasn't useful. Now, maybe I'm biased since I use Reddit for career / CPA / Australian finance / real estate related information, and generally, you're going to have serious and educated responses on there for the most part. So I could be biased, but I just don't see how a circle of like-minded friends circle jerking some egotistical douche has a value of $1,000. How about you just join for 1 month, get the contacts of everyone in there, then leave the school and keep in touch with them from there. If they don't want to keep in touch after that, it confirms that it's just a circle jerk of Hamza, and they truly weren't friends of high value to begin with. Also, what defines high value? I assumed when I first heard it, it was guys with some sort of status, some education / assets or some skills like a trade, who is physically attractive. But if that is the case, join a gym, become one of the bigger dudes there, you get chatting with the other fit guys and see if they have status / money / assets / whatever. There. Found yourself a high-value man you didn't have to pay heaps for. Alternatively, you could scour LinkedIn for guys with well-paying jobs. You could even join real estate-related groups. I'm part of a few. Plenty of landlords in there with some coinage in their pockets. Connect with them. Regardless, the term high value has been ruined for me. Whenever I hear it thrown around, I can't help but think of some Andrew Tate / Hamza fanboy with barely any money / assets, some meh online side hustle, no real career trajectory, and some muscle. Now next, Super Bowl. I didn't know what this was at first, but based on another email, it seems to be a ticket to some event. The stuff here is red pill stuff, which, like I said before, it can / does help to an extent, but it's not a guaranteed solution since the black pill triumphs. The issue here is Adonis School promotes itself as a guaranteed way to get women via the red pill, or getting women through some attraction metric, which is not how it goes. Growing up, most guys I knew were obsessed with Megan Fox. Did she take any attracting males course, or does she just straight up look good? Right, she just looks good. That's how to attract women. None of this nonsense listed here will help with that, and I'll prove it later in the video. Exclusive lectures not posted anywhere else. Yeah, maybe the lecture itself is exclusive, but the info is not. Just because you repackage some info from Adonis School or your YouTube channel doesn't mean it's exclusive. Get more matches on dating apps? I'll tell you how to get more matches on dating apps. Be attractive. That's how. No words in your bio will change anything. Women will legit just swipe instantly. And somehow, I have proof I can show you. I talk a lot about my in real life experiences, but watch this, I'll show the video in a second. This Snapchat video was from a party / house sitting thingo I had with some of my friends from my supermarket job back in 2019. Not sure how many of my regulars would recall this, but 2019 was a massive year for my social life. Back then, the supermarket was at its peak. We had damn near 25% of the store as a friendship group. We'd all be invited to the same parties, go clubbing together, had her own little meme group chat, etc. So anyway, one of the chicks was on Tinder, just cause. I guess that's what you do at a party. Anyway, watch this. There's one girl swiping, obviously. The other girl saying no a lot is another girl. The girl who says, "Help me find a boyfriend, guys," is the same girl who's swiping. And the guy who says, "So picky," is me. Watch this.
No.
Help find
No.
me a boyfriend, guys.
Big no, big no. Let's just
So
end this.
picky.
What the fuck name is chic?
And that's only like 9 seconds. Obviously, when she started, I didn't say, "Hey, wait, let me get this on Snapchat." We were doing it for a while, and I'm like, okay, this is funny, let's document this. And it continued for a little while longer too. So, you're going to pay for an event that's going to teach you how to get more matches, and women are out here doing this, the instant swipe lefts. You're wasting your money. They aren't even looking at your bio. And this was in 2019. You do realize it's gotten much worse since then, right? Women are even more picky. Stop the cope, just accept reality and adjust your expectations accordingly. Don't be like Jamie Hyneman, the guy from Mythbusters. He's like, "I reject your reality and substitute it with my own." If you try that, you won't get very far in life. Just like any game, there are rules and you have to play by those rules. Gamification of life, after all. Get girls to message you first on Instagram. Yeah, be more attractive. It doesn't matter what's in your bio. They aren't going to message first if they don't find you attractive. Which, yes, it might come under his fitness courses or whatever bullshit he sells, like the aesthetic body course. You know, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll teach you how to be better looking." But then he's just recycling the same info. He's just repackaging it in a different way. It's ultimately how to be better looking, probably through some fitness course. And then he's repackaging it as bulking course, aesthetic body course, how to attract women, shirtless selfie guide. It's all the same sort of shit, right? He's just repackaging the information with a different label. Seems sketchy to me, hey. Check out this snippet from a video from a YouTube channel called Tales. Notice how some of the girls here messaged him first. Did he take Hamza's Adonis School attraction course or attraction Super Bowl? Or did he just catfish with a pretty boy?
Catfish!
He catfished with looks. Again, this learning how to attract girls via some nonsense from some douche doesn't work. How to make a girl turned on instead of creeped out. Yeah, be attractive. Simple. The line between romance and the creeps is if she likes you or not.
Samantha, I like your outfit.
Thanks, Mark. I just got it.
Hope you're not wearing anything underneath it either. Hey, Samantha, I like your outfit.
Yuck. That's workplace harassment.
Oh, I actually just heard Mark say the exact same thing to you.
It's completely different. Mark is considered conventionally attractive and is also the CEO, which means he's rich.
So whether it's harassment or not is dependent on how attractive you find me?
Exactly.
Oh, why not just standardize it across the board and make it all harassment?
Because I still want some guys to compliment me.
All right, well, I'm gonna go look at your Instagram photos from last summer. Samantha, looks like you got a couple udders that can use a little milking. And let's just say, I'm a thirsty little calf.
Usually charge $5,000 per hour of my time. Yeah, it makes sense. He has a lot of demand, somehow, for his time, so there's a high price tag on it. But in reality, you can just slap whatever value you want on these courses/events to make it sound like a bigger deal than it is. Fun challenges with $500 prizes. Sure, nothing egregious here. Dating app guide. Yeah, be more attractive. She ain't gonna swipe otherwise. Shirtless pictures guide. Since when do you need a guide on that? I used this picture for my Tinder bio in late 2017/early 2018 when I was getting a fuckload of matches. I was more tan than usual since I had a lot of beach trips back then, taking advantage of the shreds obviously, but it was also after the university semester was over. I was working maybe 15 to 20 hours a week at the supermarket, and this was before I did any stock market stuff, any YouTube stuff, any two-job grind stuff, no real estate, certainly no CPA since I wasn't even done with a bachelor's degree yet. Nothing major, just gym, part-time work, and fun vibes. I may talk about this another time, but sometimes ignorance is bliss. I technically wasted a lot of time in my early 20s vibing around instead of grinding on stuff. But I did have fun. I do look back fondly at those times. If I had my time back, I honestly don't think I would have changed much. Maybe I would have started the YouTube channel earlier so I had more receipts to show you guys for later on, as I've done now with my old Tinder pic that I somehow found, and that video of my friend swiping no on every dude. But it was a grand old time in my early 20s. Anyway, you get matches from girls finding you attractive. Many women find it douchey to have a shirtless pic. I've always found them to be the non-fit girls anyway, so they self-filter themselves out, which is fine with me. Means I don't have to sift through unfit chicks. But it could also be because you had crappy lighting, or maybe you're making yourself look too huge. Look at my Tinder pic. I'm quite small in comparison to the fitness industry here. And granted, this is several years ago, I'm quite a bit bigger now. But the girls liked it. Maybe don't make yourself look as huge in pics, which is a funny thing to say when you're going to post a pic for social media, hey? Now, of course, this wasn't the only pic I used, but I had nothing creative on my profile. No high-value male Adonis School student in my bio. I suppose maybe they saw the 6-foot thing. I didn't realize it was a joke, because they were too enamored with my abs, obviously. Who knows? But let me tell you, all this teaching how to get more matches is rubbish. Be more appealing to the female gaze, you'll get more matches. Done. Templates for DMs. Yikes. Again, doesn't work, especially when you don't even match in the first place. It doesn't matter what you say, if they're not attracted to you, it won't work. Let me show you another anecdote I somehow have. I say somehow since these screenshots were taken years ago, and my phone has been refreshed several times since then. Usually my old photos get lost, so my only existing old pics from the late 2010s are salvaged from either Snapchat or me DMing these images to someone else. Anyway, check this. These were some screenshots I sent my friend. I was showing him some recent chicks I was talking to just because I thought it was amusing. You'll know my top best friends on Snapchat are all girls, Actually, there's one dude there. He was like my mate from uni. He was also doing an accounting degree, so we just meme and vibe back and forth. And we actually matched with the same sort of chicks on Tinder sometimes, so we thought it was pretty funny. But, you know, only one dude in my top 8. And even then, he kind of dropped out of top 8 for a little bit as well and got replaced with some other chick. But anyway, carrying on. You'll also notice that for at least 3 of them, I was their best friend on Snapchat, which is indicated by the yellow love heart. So matched with 2 of them from Tinder, like 2 of these 3 best Snapchat friends were from Tinder, and the other I met through Instagram. I followed her, liked some of her posts as she uploaded. She followed me back when I changed my profile pic to a shirtless pic, added her snap from her Instagram bio, and it went from there. So the reason the best friend thing is more significant than just Snapchatting people is because it shows that, yeah, maybe these girls were talking, well, not maybe. I know for a fact at least 2 of them were talking to other dudes at the same time, but I was like their main guy, at least at some point. So, your boy has the rizz. But how? How did I get this without paying for Adonis School or Hamza pickup lines? Because there was a mutual attraction, aka I find them hot, they find me hot, and our personalities just jived. I didn't have to put on any sort of act at all. Simple. There's no template or DM to send women that'll get them in your DMs. That's simply not how it works. Think about it. If some fat chick had aspiring mother, I cook, I clean, I am feminine, or whatever type of women they're promoting in Adonis School, are you swiping right? No, of course not. She's unattractive physically. How about if you match with some Cameron Brink-looking chick, but then she gives stale one-word responses and talks about how you're going to need a lot of money to take her on a date and how you better spend all your time with her rather than spending time with your friends or your silly little video games? Now, all of a sudden, it's not going to work. You have the physical attraction to her, sure, but now the personalities don't jive. I was wondering why some dudes actually think this shit works, like the whole pickup line, template DMs, act like a high-value male, etc. But then I realized his audience is on the younger side. I was never this naive, but I was still naive at one point. There was a common denominator between all the guys at my high school who had attention from the girls. They all looked good. Yeah, they weren't socially awkward either, but that goes away once you talk to a lot of people frequently. A good way to resolve the social awkwardness you may have with women is to have a job where you interact with a lot of them, like a fast food place or a supermarket or a restaurant or maybe even a warehouse, which is where most teenage guys work at one stage in their life anyways. Just don't go shooting your shot on day 1 at the job. Leave romance and dating out of the job until you're settled in. Then start doing that shit if you want to try it. So trust me guys, you just need to get out there via some sort of job or some uni events, if you go to uni. Maybe even the gym. I know that's kind of dangerous territory these days, but I think the whole TikTok filming thing has died out. At least that's all the stuff that worked for me anyway. I don't see why it wouldn't work anywhere else. I'm sure Australian culture isn't that different than what's overseas. Well, culture as in the whole talking to female co-workers is okay, talking to girls at the gym casually is okay, talking to girls at uni events is okay, although, I must say, uni is becoming increasingly more woke since I graduated. So, I don't know, just be careful. If you insist on finding a girl, be careful. Anyway, move on, back to the email. So he comes up with a total value of $21,039. The value in your school is worth more than the cost of an average car, Sure. Maybe try that next time you're at the car dealership. Tell them you can teach them the inner secrets of Adonis School in exchange for a car. So there's more to this email. Let's continue. But that is as of April 3rd, 2024. Let's find out the value by the end of June because most of you will still be in Adonis School by then. Well, hopefully most of you still aren't in Adonis School by then. Hopefully you've snapped out of it. But he goes on to list a bunch of other courses that I'll debunk shortly. But it seems that these are upcoming courses/events in the school. Makes sense. If you had all courses available in the school at once, why would people stick around? Maybe for the community of high-value men, but the slow course releases keep them hooked. Good tactic, but as you'll see, there is nothing here of any real value. especially not stuff Hamza hadn't already talked about on his channel for free. Bulking course, $497, nope. The fitness space online is super saturated. Heaps of valuable info. Yes, it can be hard to find amongst all the influencers with their lifestyle vlogs. Usually they'll drop the tidbits in amongst those videos, but if you want quality information, check out Marion, Rob Lipset, and Joe Delaney's videos from 2017. My regulars know these guys were my favorite content creators back then. They helped me stick to the plan of getting diced, and that's when I really started to learn more about fitness. I also have some free gym tidbits for you, but I'll save you $497 of perceived value from this bulking course. Eat at a calorie surplus, progressively overload in the gym via more volume over time. Generally, this refers to weight, but it can include decreased rest times, more reps, more sets. Eat roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, most of which coming from quality animal sources. Train each muscle group approximately twice a week. You can do more, you can do 1 time a week, but 2 is a good guideline. Have adequate rest, 1 to 2 rest days a week at least. Make sure you get good enough sleep. Rinse and repeat for a few years and you'll have a totally different body. Done. You're welcome. Red Pill Super Bowl, $49. I imagine this is some other event like the last one, and because it has Red Pill in its name, its value is automatically reduced to 0. New coach, $1,000. What happened to the other coaches in Adonis School? Picked by Hamza himself. Is he flip-flopping on coaches? Maybe this is like a new coach for Adonis School. No doubt whoever it is won't have anything valuable to add. Even so, it could be due to the additional students, which I'll mention later. The current coaches can't handle them all, so he's adding in another to handle the new students. Well, that isn't providing any extra value to you as a student. It's just getting what you sign up for, a coach. It just so happens that the other coaches are full, so the new coach is just keeping the value the same. If I'm wrong on that part, then that means this new coach is adding in some fresh new info and a new perspective. But as we've seen so far, whatever the coach offers isn't going to be valuable at all. Speaking skills course, $497. What? Does everyone have a speech impairment or something, or is this some pickup thing? Like how to talk to girls? I've already talked about why that doesn't work. And also, why are these new courses valued in $97 instead of $99 like the other courses listed in the first half of the email? Odd how the valuation has just switched up. Aesthetic Body Super Bowl. Didn't Hamza begin his course selling stuff via the Aesthetic Body course? He's reselling the same thing? Unless it's some like event where all the boys get together and show off your rigs. Sounds like fun. I'm assuming this Super Bowl is like the one we saw earlier, the Attraction Super Bowl. It's just him talking for a few hours. It's not a Super Bowl at all. Quite insulting to NFL fans. By the way, earlier when I was talking about why this attraction template thing doesn't work, I failed to mention the bottom part. I'm just adding this now because I just realized, and this script is already more than 9,000 words at the time of writing, and I cannot be asked redoing it. I'm busy. Around the time of starting this script, I have social events, a dental appointment, a laser hair removal appointment, a coloring appointment for my house. I need to get back to the gym from hiatus. I have some promotion shit at work to catch up on, let alone getting back to my 7-day work weeks. It's going to take me long enough to get this video out. I don't want it to take even longer, but anyway, I forgot to mention the bottom part here. There's only 100 tickets available, so click the link below ASAP. Why is there only 100 tickets available if these Super Bowls are provided as value to Adonis School students? The only way I can see these two being mutually exclusive events is if Adonis School students get this for free, and those 100 available tickets are the leftovers after they'd all been allocated to Adonis School students. But based on Hamza's past actions, I seriously doubt this. I imagine they'd be separate. I also thought this was some in-person event, but it says it's happening at 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time, which indicates it's in the UK and it's some virtual event. If it's an in-person event, not only is there no location listed, but why would the local time zone matter if it was an in-person event? Wouldn't it be a date instead? Actually, shut up, Gamification, no one cares, get to the point. The 100 ticket thing could be a fake cap to promote an urgent sale, But I know Zoom has a limited number of people allowed per call, so that could be it. However, he doesn't mention anywhere that this is included in Adonis School. If this Super Bowl stuff was a free perk of Adonis School, I feel Hamza would have mentioned it somewhere in the email. Like, this ticket is available for purchase, but for my Adonis School students, it's free, or something, given the fact he loves to promote his school whenever possible. And yet, the email from the Adonis School students says the Super Bowls are included in the value of Adonis School. So why is there only 100 tickets available? There's 2,000 students in Adonis School. How is there a cap of only 100 tickets if these Super Bowls are included in Adonis School? He could have a Zoom meeting with a much higher capacity than 100, but in that case, the 100 tickets thing would only be listed to create a false sense of urgency. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking something that could easily be chalked up to a false sense of urgency, but do note that the student has included Super Bowls as a part of the Adonis School value, yet it seems you still need to pay for these events if you wanted to join. Nowhere in the specific Super Bowl email did Hamza mention that these are free for Adonis School students, despite the fact he loves to promote any single perceived benefit that Adonis School provides. Anyway, back to the valuation email. Advanced Entrepreneurship course, $497. Yet another course relating to a not career. As I speculated in the original Adonis School slander video, it's just about becoming an online entrepreneur. Maybe this is why all the Adonis School students aren't stinking rich. They're just waiting for this advanced entrepreneurship course. Bonus live call, $197. I like how the live calls are valued at $4,999, but a bonus live call is a measly $197. Is this just one live call, and the other $4,999 in value is for a lifetime of calls? My guess is they're adding in another live call a month or something. There was probably some feedback in the school saying that they wanted more live calls. But even so, what's with the discrepancy in value? Another new coach, $1,000. Alright, so this tells me that the new coach thing is just adding some extra stuff into the school rather than handling new students. Unless Hamza is jumping the gun thinking he's going to get more students by then. But again, what's the bet that the new coach isn't adding anything valuable? 10K accelerator course, $497. Another gimmicky online income course. How to get $10,000 quickly. Make a school, charge everyone $500 to get in, get 20 people in, there's $10,000. Done. Testosterone Super Bowl, $49. Again, he seems to sell these tickets separate to Adonis School, so the value isn't a part of your school. Also, you trust Hamza to teach you about testosterone?
We need to discuss the single biggest reported testosterone increase out of every study so far. There is one practice that has been shown to 400% the testosterone. That means if you have a 500 nanograms of testosterone, this practice has been reported to increase it up to 2,000. That is a steroid level increase. I'm surprised that this hasn't taken over the internet with this study. And what is it? It's semen retention.
So the problem with this particular study that a lot of people don't seem to realize, I mean, there's a lot of different things you could say about it when you really analyze things in more detail, but probably the main issue is that the study doesn't actually exist. This semen retention study found a 40% increase, not 400, and even then it was temporary and fell back to baseline fairly quickly. So if you find no fat beneficial for whatever reason, whether it's confidence, mood, productivity, libido, then by all means go for it. But this insane idea that you're going to achieve some huge steroid-like increase in testosterone, that's really just clickbait nonsense, and it's not supported by any actual data.
So now he has the total at almost $23,000 by the end of June. So okay, he's stacking these values on top of each other, but yet he said lifetime calls at $4,999. So if anything, wouldn't you just say something like each call valued at $200 or whatever, and each month have a monthly live call $200 and add that value into the school each month? What you've done here is not used accrual accounting, which refers to recognizing revenue and expenses at the date in which they're earned or incurred, not when the cash exchanges hands. In this case, you've recognized value before you've received value. And I use the term value very, very loosely. Oh, gamification of life, stop being so nitpicky. It doesn't matter how he's calculated this value, the timing doesn't matter. Well, it does in the real world. You can botch a lot of financial reports by mixing and matching the timing of recognized revenue and expenses, and these accounting reports impact stock valuations of companies, which is where your retirement money is. And it's also what the banks are invested in via loans, the same banks that hold your money, not to mention how the government can also get involved with these mismanaged reports. So no, this isn't a trivial thing, it's quite important. But of course, I don't expect the Adonis School students or Hamza to know how to apportion income and expenses properly. Now, yes, the consequences of miscalculating the value of this is zero. There's no bad outcome as a result of this, except maybe some impressionable kid on the fence of joining, then seeing this and being like, oh yeah, wow, such great value here. But then I come along as the equalizer and reset that. That one kid that jumped over the fence, and now I've pulled him back. So continuing, he mentions the live call with Hamza again, acting like that's such a grand prize. And that's assuming you'll get life-changing information out of him. If he had life-changing information, he would have given it all already. You don't get to 2 million subs on YouTube without giving away most/all of your good cards. The email goes on to say, lastly, Hamza adds anywhere from $500 to $2,500 worth of value every month to Adonis School for $129 a month. By the way, $22,871 is nearly 15 years of Adonis School. 15 years! So this is another arbitrary number pulled out of thin air. I like how most of the valuations end in a 99 or a 97, and yet the total monthly value is a nice round number. Like he adds anywhere from $500 to $2,500 instead of anywhere from $499 to $2,499. Like he's just rounded the number now for some reason. Maybe I'm the only one who gives a shit, but I'm an accountant. What do you expect? It's part of my job to scrutinize the monies. Anyway, he says the value of almost $23,000 is worth almost 15 years of subscriptions to Adonis School. But again, as I said before, he hasn't apportioned the value properly. But whatever. Continuing on, he says you'll probably have a wife and kids by then, laugh emoji, and that is only for the value till the end of June 2024. The value keeps increasing every month, so by the end of the 15 years, you can imagine the value. Okay, so the wife and kids, I like the whole family dynamic some Adonis School students strive towards, despite the fact that Adonis School more often than not mentions getting girls or women, plural, implying more than one. Chances are you're not from a religion that allows that, and good luck finding women who'll be happy with that these days. However, it seems to be their only end goal, like there is no other option with relationships. Wife and kids or bust. I get it. But in countries where most of these students are going to be from, unfortunately, the wife situation isn't the smartest financial move. It's another point I'll talk about in another video, but to briefly summarize, in some developed countries like the United States or Australia, there's a thing called no-fault divorce. Basically, you can get divorced for whatever reason. Now, look at the stats that show how many marriages end in divorce. It's around half. Now, look at who initiates the divorce most of the time. It's women. Okay, divorce is more likely than not to happen. But so what? So what if I get divorced? Well, oh boy, you will get royally fucked by the family courts. In fact, you will get so fucked that Mia Khalifa would start to get jealous of how much you're getting fucked. Not only will you get saddled with alimony in many cases, but you'll lose your retirement fund. It'll get split up and go to your soon-to-be ex-wife. All those hours you spent at work that went into your retirement fund, well, a good chunk of that isn't yours anymore. The legal fees related to divorce are also absurdly high. There's a documentary on this from years and years ago, and yet you guys still aren't learning. And the worst part of all is your house. You busted your ass, especially in this economy, with how house prices are. You worked hard to get ahead in this economy, and now you've just lost your house, you're homeless, your home is awarded to the female. That's how family courts roll. In the cases of early split-ups, like let's say a breakdown in your late 20s or a few years into the relationship, the house will be sold and split accordingly. Even though I have seen a situation where a guy in his mid-20s got booted from the house that he mostly funded and his ex got to keep it. But in the sense if you got to sell the house and split the proceeds, that doesn't make the situation much better since you still need to now go and buy a new home on your own. Those profits you gained from the sale of the old home aren't anywhere near enough to go and get a new one. Now keep in mind, I am biased since I have my own home myself. No one funded it except me. The bank funded it and I owe the bank a loan, mortgage, you know what I mean? My name is the only one that's on the loan. Well, it's not like built yet or anything, but basically all the finances all practically check out. I got this on my own. So even if they didn't kick me out of it, but I had a separation with a spouse who lived with me, they'd make me sell it and give her some of the proceeds from my home, despite the fact that she contributed $0 to it. Maybe this is different if you both contributed. Fair enough. If you both went 50-50 on a home and you split, makes sense to split it 50-50, but when there are kids involved, the courts will just fleece you for more in child support, which we know never goes to the child. I've also seen plenty of instances where the woman in the relationship cheated on the partner and they split as a result, and the man was the one who got kicked out of the house. Now, I'm not saying this is guaranteed to happen to you, but it could. You need to be aware of this. What I would personally do is if I had a long-term relationship with a woman and she wanted to live with me, we'd get our own separate place, that's not my current home, that she would go 50-50 on. I'd get a binding financial agreement and I'd establish some sort of corporate trustee and park my assets in that. That way, if we split, worst case is they kick me out of our joint home, but I keep my first home and any other investment properties. I could lose my superannuation, but I'd look at ways to protect that too. Maybe some sort of self-managed super fund, I don't know. And I'd simply also not get into a relationship with a girl that earns significantly less than me. That way, any breakup softens the financial blow. It sounds like I'm preparing for doomsday, and some simps are going to cry about this, but you'll be the one crying when you become yet another divorce statistic and the family courts are fleecing you dry. Better safe than sorry. I have third-party car insurance. Does that mean I plan on crashing into someone else's car? I'm going to have fire insurance on my home. Does that mean I plan on setting my home on fire? My retirement fund has life insurance. Does that mean I plan on a game over anytime soon? No, but you don't want to take that risk. I just showed a heap of examples on screen. You can also check out the Men's Financial Advice Facebook page. You cannot ignore all the anecdata. If you want to gamble on your future, so be it. I tried to warn you, your funeral. A common counter-argument to this is never actually addressing the argument. Instead, they just attack the person, not the argument. People just cry, "Oh, you're just an incel or a misogynist." Okay, then explain why I was chatting to so many girls on Snapchat in those prior images you saw before. And that wasn't even all of them either, and that was just at one point in time. Do you really think an incel misogynist could hold conversations like that? You saw the Snapstreak days. I doubt women would talk to a guy for anywhere near that long if he truly hated women, or if he was some basement dweller. Now, I do understand attacking the person instead of an argument, since often it just debunks the argument as a whole. Example, some lazy video gamer crying about why Bill Gates has so much money. Let's just disregard his recent antics for the sake of this argument. Like, bro, how about you invent a software that the whole world uses instead of doing nothing productive all day? But in this case, a personal attack on me doesn't work. Since I obviously talk to women, I'm just financially savvy. It doesn't matter how much money you make or how big your mansion is, you can get that fleeced from you in the family courts if you're not careful with your relationship in many first world countries. I have much more to say, but I'll cut it shortly since I need to move on. I'll talk more about this whole relationship thing in another video. But don't go dumping your current girlfriend just because I've made you aware of the laws that are rigged against you. Just understand the rules of the game and don't think you won't be affected. Do your own homework on how the family courts work in your country. I know Cyprus and Iran have more fair rules. Both parties walk away with their respective assets, as far as I've seen anyway. This self-improvement channel, Ryan Horgan, talks about it too. I found this guy even before he made that semi-viral Hamza is clueless on relationships video. He's married and even he knows it's often a bad idea. But he's in a country that protects him. I am from Australia. The Australian legal system won't protect me, it'll fuck me. So, gotta play according to the rules of your server. So, moving on, the final part of the email says, and that is only for the value till the end of June 2024. The value keeps increasing every month? No, it doesn't. So by the end of the 15 years, you can imagine the value. No, I can't. What value? The new courses he's adding in are just the same fitness/online income/self-improvement shit that's been said before, just repackaged a certain way. What exactly is new in this school that hasn't already been said before? I'm low-key worried if these guys are still in this 15 years later and haven't woken up yet. But we shall see. Watch this video age like fine wine. Okay, so now I'm going to list the value of Gamification of Life's channel, just for funsies. Now at first I was going to put some outrageous figures onto the content of my channel just to show you guys that anyone can pluck numbers out of their ass and assign a value to it, just like some stock market analysts. However, after looking at it, I genuinely don't think these figures are that outrageous at all, and you'll see why once you hear me out. So, Gamification of Life teaches you about some key stats involved in the game of life and how to improve each of them. There's career, money, defense, aesthetics, investments, brand, mental health, and relationships, which is a new stat I've recently added. I'll disregard defense and mental health for this one, since defense is kinda apportioned across career, money, and investments, and mental health is priceless and also very subjective. What helps my mental health may not help you. So I'll leave that value out for the sake of these calculations. But let's start with the value of the teachings about a career. Career stat value, $699,999. What? How did you come up with this figure? Initially, I pulled it out of my ass, but it's actually not that far-fetched. Here's why. If you decide to pick the wrong career path, it'll cost you tens of thousands of dollars in student debt that drags down your finances for the remainder of your life. This can potentially cost you the ability to secure a house/apartment/condo/whatever, but that aside, picking the wrong career path/wrong major in college means you don't have the extra income over a standard dead-end job, which can cost you majorly over your lifetime. A rough example is picking a useless degree and getting stuck making $60,000 a year in a job that never required a degree in the first place. Now, $60,000 can be good income for now, but you just went into debt, that's assuming you're not from a European country with free university, for a qualification that provided no extra skills for your career stat. Flip this to a job that pays $70,000 a year out the gate, let's just say it's some useful engineering degree or something, and then it pays $100,000 in 5 years, then $120,000 in 15 years. Conservative figures, let's say you work another 20 years at $120,000, even though you'll probably earn way more than that at some point, depending on your career choice. In the last 20 years of your career, you're on $120,000 a year. The person who picked the wrong career is on $70,000 that whole time. Let's just say they got some 10K raise at some point. A difference of $50,000 per year. $50,000 times 20 years equals a $1 million difference over 20 years. And that doesn't include the prior 15 years, and that assumes their job pays $70,000, which it may even pay less, and that assumes you only cap out at around $120,000. I could have just valued the career stat information at well over $1 million, but because I'm such a nice guy, I'm valuing it at well over 50% off for the next 100 subscribers only. So a decision you make at 18 to 19 can literally save you millions of dollars in lost income over a lifetime. Now, yes, you can go back to uni later and choose a better major, or do a trade, or whatever, but more often than not, people throw in the towel. They do a degree once and never fully realize why they could never find a job. If only someone gave out multi-million-dollar advice, priced it at only $699K, and then packaged it into a 1-hour, 20-minute video for free on YouTube. If only. Money stat value, $19,999. No rhyme or reason. I have some small budgeting tidbits and money tips that I haven't made videos on yet, These could very easily save tens of thousands of dollars, assuming you have a decent income in the first place, but I just pulled this figure out of thin air. Not exactly that far-fetched though when you consider the smaller money hacks work well in tandem with the career and investor stat ideas. Aesthetic stat value, $59,999. A lot of people's health problems stem from not providing their body the nutrients it requires. The vitamins and minerals are literally called essential vitamins and minerals, since your body can't produce these themselves. And in some cases, a prolonged diet lacking in the essential nutrients can lead to a premature death and some cancers. Don't take my word for it. Look at the nutritional science. Now, since this is by the WHO, I'm reluctant to agree with them, especially after what they pulled in 2020. I'll keep my mouth shut to avoid a shadow ban, but feel free to read this for yourself. You can literally shorten your life by not having a good diet. You need to provide your body all the essential vitamins and minerals, and yet most fitness influencers will provide diet plans that don't actually meet all the vitamins and minerals. How do I know this? Because I've seen countless day-in-the-life videos from fitness influencers in the past, and from their food choices, I can literally see they're lacking in nutrients. And I've had friends show me meal plans they purchased, and some were even from a dietitian that didn't contain all of these nutrients. Madness! If only there was a channel out there that provided a sample diet that contains all the essential vitamins and minerals. That way I wouldn't need to go and do the homework myself. And only if they provided this high-value information for free in a couple of YouTube videos. Sigh. Too bad there's no high-value channel out there. Now, I was being facetious there, but realistically, the value of $59,999 is probably way too low for a diet that could enhance your lifespan by decades, or at the very least, increase the quality of your life and drastically reduce any medical bills you'd obtain from frequent hospital trips later in life. Once again, I've just lowered the value because I'm such a nice guy. Investor stat value, $1,499,999. Bruh, how? I'll tell you how. The additional money you can make from learning the stock market has no realistic upper cap.
Which means we scored over $2 million worth of gains in one day. It's really a couple of hours, not even one day. So sure, we might have lost on the day trade for Tesla calls. And I did. I didn't close it, so I lost a little bit of money in the calls for Tesla. But boy, the gains for Supermicro were so big, they could choke an elephant. I mean, think about traders who made $2 million in a couple of hours trading these puts in Supermicro. How long do you think the average American has to work before they make $2 million? The answer is a lifetime. If they're lucky, of course, they'll make $2 million by the time they retire. Some folks made that money in a couple of hours. Now, what are you saying, Maverick? Are you saying I should quit my job and gamble in the stock market? No. All I'm asking you to do is just think about that for a moment.
And I've made it easy for you. I've provided the treasure map for you guys. Now it's up to you to go and find the treasure. Stock market stuff aside, realizing that the time value of money means $1 today is worth more than $1 next year can lead you to making early decisions that can literally save your financial future. Example, real estate. The cause of most people's financial distress later in life, as in late 30s and beyond, is often renting. Now, this is coupled with them not having a high enough income in most cases, if only they picked the right career path earlier on in life, so they drown in higher rental costs. However, if they got into real estate earlier in life, they'd be fine. The rental increases wouldn't impact them since they're not renting. Now, unlike many others, I don't see renting as a waste of money. There are times in your life where it's necessary to rent, but it shouldn't be forever. Unless you wanted to move around a lot and you had solid skills, that means you can generate good income wherever you go. And if you had a large safety net for when times got tough, but that's not most people. And even then, if you had real estate, while you move around, that real estate could be gaining value as the real estate market goes up, as well as providing some cash flow via rental payments whilst you move around. So, realizing the impacts of real estate on the economy and your financial situation can save you millions. This couples well with the career stat, since in most cases, banks won't give you a loan unless you have stable income, aka from a job.
Some banks prefer income from business owners, and some won't lend anything to them. I wanted to buy a house at the end of last year, but when I told my bank that my income came from YouTube videos, they politely but firmly told me to get out of their office.
But preferably a career. since that provides the potential for pay increases that most standard jobs don't. Now, the $1 million plus worth of value from the investor stat is easily summarized. If you rent between the ages of 35 to 55, let's say your rent is $500 a week. Maybe it's not that high right now, even though it's a lot higher in many parts of the world. And if it's not now, it definitely will be in the coming years and beyond. That costs you $520,000 in rent payments over that 20-year span. If you owned a home at 35 worth $500,000, that will most certainly at least double in that 20-year span. Let's just say it's now worth $1.2 million. You've gained $700,000 in capital appreciation over that 20-year span for no real extra work. You've just repaid a loan from the bank, the same way you'd be paying rent otherwise. But now you have an additional $700,000 in net worth. This also doesn't consider the fact you can extract equity from your main/first property and use that for a second, and you could gain rent from that other property as well as receiving its capital growth. So the renter paid $520,000 in 20 years with nothing to show for it, and the real estate owner gained $700,000 in equity. There's a $1.22 million difference in those 20 years. And that's assuming you got into real estate at 35. You could get in earlier. I'm 27 at the moment, and I technically got in at 24. And it also doesn't factor in the rest of your life after 55, and that doesn't factor in other financial benefits like depreciation that reduce your taxes, let alone the fact that you aren't at eviction of your landlord for those 20 years. Now, I've heard in countries like Germany that there's a lot more protection in place for renters. I believe over there you can make modifications to the house you're renting, as well as being able to live in it basically your whole life. Here in Australia, landlords have much more control. In my state of Victoria, they're slowly introducing more legislation that protects renters, but ultimately, landlords can still decide to evict you, and you have to uproot your life and move elsewhere. And Australia has super low rental vacancies, so good luck finding a new place. Here is a post in the Facebook group of the community where my supermarket job is located. As you can see, this person is being forced to move out by their landlord. They're desperate for a new place, but there is 6 of them, and they have a dog. And this town isn't even that big, neither are the surrounding towns, and even then, there's basically 0 places available for sale, let alone rent. And even if they somehow found something in the closest city, which is also unlikely, and even then it's a bit of a trek to the current community where their school and work and whatnot is, it's unlikely they'd find a place big enough for 2 adults and 4 kids, let alone the dog, since most landlords don't allow pets. And they don't want to move since they're integrated into the community. So now their life has been turned upside down since they didn't have their own place. Thus, having your own real estate saves headaches such as this. Now, I'll bring this up again. I'm from Australia. I'm playing by the laws in Australia, aka the rules of the game in Australia. Maybe the laws/rules in your country favour renters more, so you wouldn't be subject to stuff like this, but the whole capital appreciation thing still plays a role in the investor stat. Rental laws aside, you reap the benefits of capital appreciation if you own real estate. I'll give more real estate related tidbits in later videos, but just understanding the benefit of getting in early and the fact that a career helps with that drastically is a huge tidbit. I wish I had realized this earlier in my life. I would have gotten in earlier. So, investor stat valued at $1.5 million, but as I've said, it probably saves/makes you even more than that when you consider the headaches that having your own place saves, as well as the capital growth over decades from owning your own real estate. Brand stat, value $0. Yeah, I don't know how to value this either. I do mention having your own brand name as a potential side hustle, but nothing I talk about is new information that you don't already hear all over the internet. And I don't really talk about tips for a brand much since this is not the most important stat. And even then, you can really do without this stat, to be honest. It's just a bonus if you can get it right. Relationship stat value, $999,999. Another bit of $1 million suggestions, but this basically revolves around the dangers of family/divorce courts, which I've already talked about and will elaborate on further in its own designated video. Asset protection and being made aware of the damage a bad relationship can do to your life is well worth over $1 million. But I've just cut the value down since I'm such a nice guy. That puts the total value of Gamification of Life's channel at around $3.8 million. But I will continue to add value, so in 15 years you can imagine the value. But instead of charging $3.8 million for the value it's worth, the channel's price tag is...
For $4,997. I'm not even going to ask for $2,997. I'm going to give you access to everything we talked about today for a single payment of... A single payment of... It's free.
It's free. My Alex Hormozy moment. Jokes aside, see how anyone can just slap together some figures showing the value of their products? But even then, it's not like my valuations aren't totally unfounded. The money you can make by picking the right career, the medical bills you save with a proper diet, the extra net worth you gain from understanding real estate, as well as the headache saved by owning your own place, all of which could get taken from you in the family courts. All that information is for free on this channel. I hope you put some thought into stuff like this, since usually people don't take free information seriously. I know some fanboys are going to try and tear this valuation apart in the comments, which is fine. Comments are good for the algorithm. But if you do, tell me exactly where the value of Adonis School courses are derived from. At least I've used some rough estimates. Okay, so that's it for this email. That's it in terms of the value of Adonis School. The true value is $, since you're paying someone money for information that is not only vague, not only has he already talked about this for free on his Discord and YouTube channel before, not only is whatever information in the courses detracting you from actually useful endeavors, but the amount you are paying is incredibly overpriced. Meanwhile, the true value for Gamification of Life channel is in the millions. I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not. So we're done with all that. We're done with the 90s. But while we're here, I'll address another email I saw. Adonis School now has 2,000 members. How? My flagship seduction course has gotten young men so many incredible wins with high-quality girls. Here we go again with the courses on women's stuff. So he has a seduction course and a relationship course. Are they separate? Or is it similar information repackaged? I don't care, I'm not going to pick this apart since it wasn't part of the initial email. But the seduction thing comes if you're attractive. Simple. Think about it from a guy's perspective. Which of these girls on screen is more likely to seduce you as a male? Would it be the girl who has taken the Seducing Men course from Adonis School? Or the girl who's hotter? Right, the girl who's hotter. Same applies in reverse with men. Who's more likely to seduce the girls? The guy on the left who's taken the Adonis School course in seducing women? Or the guy on the right? Exactly, the guy on the right. This seduction course is nonsense. Continuing on, I'm so proud of my boys or young men. Okay, Gamification of Life, stop being so nitpicky. I'm so proud of my young boys in Adonis School who actually take action rather than just daydreaming about being with cute girls like 99% of men. Yeah, Hamza does this a lot. 99% of men this, 99% of men that, and us versus them thing. Yes, it's a competitive world, but you don't have to compete with every single person in every single thing. In reality, it's a bad idea for me to recommend a career to you guys, since that could put you down the path of accounting, which means I may have to compete with you down the track for those high-paying finance manager roles. However, I'm aware that I'll have competition on those roles regardless, and I'm confident enough in my own abilities not to be intimidated by any up-and-coming career-oriented guys. And most of my audience isn't even from Australia anyway, and there are other careers out there on top of that, so chances are I'll be fine. But it's funny how he keeps touting an us versus them thing, especially when I distinctly remember a video Hamza made talking about riding the wave up to the top with him when his channel was growing. Another flip-flop. But anyway, let's continue. Another part of this email shows a screenshot of some post inside Adonis School. Locked her down with 2 text messages and 3 dates. Kinda a confusing title. You secured a girl with 2 text messages and 3 dates? So are you dating now despite only texting twice and having 3 dates? Or did you text her only twice, set up a date, had 2 more dates after that, and now you're in a relationship? Whatever, who cares? Feel free to read what he said on screen, but the part I want to talk about is where he says the girl was talking to another guy for 3 weeks and got nowhere. Correct. You got to strike while the iron is hot. Don't drag things out. You and your match on the dating app are there for a reason. You both are trying to see how things will work out with someone else. Cut to the chase. This isn't some info you need to pay for, though. This is common knowledge amongst many people. Check out this clip from the Muppets 2015 show.
Hey guys, I think your friends are leaving with those 3 ladies.
What? Oh, Lara, where are you going?
Oh, these guys are hysterical. I'm taking them to karaoke on my party bus.
What?
Pepe, a word of advice. Love the bathtub photos, but eventually, you do need to take a lady on a date. Oh.
You could have gotten this advice from the Muppets TV show ages ago. Yeah, I know it's a show, you can't take it too seriously, but it makes sense from a social perspective. You can't just draw things out via texting/messaging for too long. At the very least, it's not harmful advice, so good job, kiddo. But I want to direct your attention to 2 images. Firstly, the message he sent the girl. He cut to the chase rather quickly. That's fine, but surely you didn't need to enroll in Adonis School to figure that out. If she is attracted to you, this quick shot thing will work. You know she likes you when she gives another option though. She said, I'm not free Saturday, but I am this other day. It keeps the window open. So good job, bro. But there is no seduction course, relationship course magic is done here. This is how a lot of guys talk to people. He didn't text a certain way that came across as being so masculine that he learned in Adonis School. He was essentially just himself, and she likes him, so she responds favorably. Recall the Tails video I showed earlier. He was just talking random shit to girls from a catfish pretty boy account. They reciprocated, and in some cases, they were the ones messaging him. He used a catfish account, not lessons from an Adonis School seduction course, or some template to DM girls with. But Hamza told me I'd have girls literally throwing themselves at me if I signed up to Adonis School. Well, he lied, because black pill holds majority of the attraction and dating success. But again, I'll elaborate on that in a future video. The reason I haven't mentioned black pill, red pill much on this channel before is because the whole dating market scene isn't a big part of my life, and you guys are better off focusing your energy on the other stats in the game of life instead. However, recently I have realized it's probably beneficial to talk more about girls and relationships on this channel, hence why the new stat was added. But since you can't do much regarding the black pill, don't worry about it too much. It is what it is. Now just change what you can. Recall the Serenity Prayer. The black pillars like Rehab Room and Tails believe the black pill seeps into your career too, not just the dating market, and I believe this as well to an extent, although nowhere near as much as those guys. I have a hot as fuck female friend with big tits who basically gets any job she goes for. Yes, she is smart and well spoken, but her looks carry, to be honest. However, I don't think the black pill has as much of an impact on the labour market as it does on the dating market. AKA, finance manager roles require a CPA. They don't require you to have hunter eyes, a tall upper ramus, cheekbones, and an angled jaw, or whatever the fuck the black pillars keep yapping about.
How attractive is Zayn Malik? Zayn has almond brown eyes with low set and positively tilted eyebrows. His jawline visibility is excellent and his lower third is wide. He's got a good mid-face ratio and his cheekbones are high set. In terms of hair, Zayn has excellent texture and ideal facial hair development. He has a great skin texture and smoothness, and he's got straight white teeth. Zayn has a tall rhombus and good jaw forward growth, and his nose is straight. Zayn does not have equal facial thirds. This is because his forehead is quite short. His upper lip is on the thinner side, and he's got close set eyes, although it harmonizes well with the rest of his face. Zayn is an 8 out of 10 facially.
Hence why I don't worry about it or talk about it too much. But again, topics for a future video. Now, I will mention one more thing related to the black pill though. Let's see the other image that caught my attention from this guy. This is his dating app bio. What are the first two things that stand out in each separate paragraph? Right, he's tall. That's another reason why this girl responded favorably to his messages. For the most part, women like tall guys. Again, I'll talk about it more in the future video. I'm not a fan of women discriminating against guys on stuff they can't control, like their height, but the fact of the matter is, most do. Take it from a guy who's friends with heaps of females. I hear what they say. Bro didn't do anything special or unique that he learned in Adonis School. He's simply tall, and this chick likes tall guys. Hence why she responded well to his messages. Don't be fooled with stuff like this in the Adonis School marketing. I know it sucks that there's nothing you can do about height. If you saw this video I made, you'll know at some stage near the end of the video, I intended on making a video on this height thing, and I haven't gotten around to it since it would just take me way too long to get all my thoughts out. Maybe I'll make a video series on it, I don't know. But whatever this dude did won't work for most other guys. Since I assume most of us aren't 198 centimeters tall, I'm not. Most people I see here in Australia aren't. This is what carries this guy. He mentioned in the post in the last paragraph, there are guys out here that think you have to build up a connection, etc., etc. I can't see the rest. The reason you didn't need to build up a connection first, aka some blue pill personality thing, or some red pill acting like an alpha male thing, is because she was attracted to you. A black pill thing, most likely due to your height, which is another black pill thing. Again, don't be fooled by this marketing. This guy did nothing special. He just had different parents to the rest of us. And he knows this too. You can see from his bio in both paragraphs that the first thing he has listed is his height. He literally starts the ball rolling with tall, and then 198 centimeters in the next paragraph. If that wasn't important, and it was your masculinity that was the most important thing or whatever, why didn't you have that listed first? He has entrepreneur as the third thing he lists, which is more than likely a reference to some self-improvement YouTube channel. Why wasn't this listed first? Another guess is that this isn't his choice, it's just the way the Bumble bio works. At least I think this is Bumble. I don't know, I'm not on dating apps anymore since it's an inefficient use of my time. My time is better spent on other endeavors like my 5 main stats in the game of life, which will be mentioned later in a reaction segment to another video. But anyway, if the dating app is the one that forces the height to be listed first, why is that? Why wouldn't they list something else first, like how do you make your income? Why isn't the method of how you make your income the first option? Example, tell girls you're an entrepreneur like Adonis or an influencer instead of some Jeffrey who works a job like a peasant NPC. Why wouldn't that be the first thing listed if dating apps wanted more engagement? Do you think maybe in general more women care about height than they do about that other stuff? That might be why the dating apps have structured the information like this. I'm pretty sure Tinder now has some filter where you can be excluded from the stack of women if you aren't a certain height. Not sure, I'm not on Tinder anymore either. Just saw it in a Facebook group I'm a part of. Apparently it's an April Fool's joke, but I'm pretty sure that may have actually been back in 2019. But either way, Bumble is doing that. They're still yapping about height, which is funny because I wonder if they'll make an option for men to filter women out by their cup size, whether it be an April Fool's joke or not, or if they have a dating app where women need to state what their bra size is. Of course not. Shaming bodies on a factor that can't be controlled is only okay when women do it. But that'll be another video for another day. For the sake of this video, regardless of whether it's the dating app that's listing the height first, or it's this guy that's listing the height first, at least one of the parties involved here knows the truth about the dating game. The odds work in favor of the black pill. Before we move on though, I'll circle back to that comment I made about listing your income source as an entrepreneur or having a standard career. Check this video out.
All of a sudden, girls are going to start doubting you. They're going to be kind of embarrassed when they bring you up at parties. Like, what does he do? Is he still trying to be a rapper? Like, yeah, he's still doing the music, right? It's embarrassing for them. It lowers their status. They want a guy where it's like, yeah, no, he's an accountant, or oh, he's a lawyer, he's an engineer, yeah.
This other self-improvement channel, Denmo, knows it too. I'll reserve my thoughts on this guy since it's not super relevant to the point of this video, but we need to see what he said here. Having a stable, well-paying income source like a good career helps you out with women. It's not the primary thing most care about, but it definitely doesn't hurt your chances. I mean, I picked a good career since it provides financial stability that makes the rest of my life substantially more enjoyable and easier. The fact that it helps with women, to an extent, is just a bonus, which is exactly how you guys should be looking at things too. But anyway, notice how Denmo was dissing the whole doing his own thing, like it's embarrassing for women. If you had a girl and she was out with her friends and they're talking about their boyfriends and the conversation goes like this. One girl says, "My boyfriend is an electrician." Another says, "My boyfriend is an engineer." Another says, "My boyfriend is in medical school." And another says, "My boyfriend is in Adonis School learning how to be a lethal entrepreneur." Which do you think is the most impressive of these lot? I can tell you, I'd be impressed with the first three. I'd be laughing at the fourth girl behind her back, or to her face, one or the other. So just put yourself in the shoes of a girl. Would she prefer you to have a stable, steady income stream, especially if you plan on having a family in the future? Or would she prefer you to be gambling your future livelihood because some dumbass on the internet told you to? Of course, the income ceiling for this online business stuff is way higher than the other standard careers, but how likely is this to pay off? I've spoken about the chances of a business succeeding in the past, and I've also talked about the trade-off between income and likelihood of getting that income in my career video too. Example, the head of the Reserve Bank here in Australia makes almost $1 million per year, but there's only one job of this in the entire country out of 27 million-ish people. If I did everything necessary to become the governor of the Reserve Bank and I didn't get the job since there was only one slot available and someone else got it, now what? It's the same with this online income thing. The chances of you being the guy making millions from online income is so low, especially when you realize that most people that do are just fleecing money from others, like what Hamza is doing here. You're better off playing safer odds with your financial future via a proven career. If I don't get this accounting job at this place, oh well, I'll just go get another one at another company. I have many options. Same with being a nurse, engineer, plumber, doctor, etc. I didn't get the job at this company, oh well, I'll go to another. I'll show you a clip from an old Simpsons episode. It illustrates the point further of a steady income stream / steady job as the best option for a family. You don't want to take life advice / choices from parts of a cartoon show, but it's just to further drive my point home. So here's the clip.
Friends, we love you all, but I also have a sinister motive for asking you all here. Sinister being Latin for left-handed. But enough joking.
That was a joke?
Shh. As of Friday, I'm saying toodaloo to the pharmaceutical game.
Leaving? I can't believe it.
What is he talking about? No, I kid you not. Here's the noose I had to wear for 10 years.
What are you going to do, Ned?
Well, sir, like 1 out of every 9 Americans, I'm left-handed. And let me tell you, it ain't all peaches and cream. Your writing gets smeared. Lord help you if you want to drive a standard transmission.
Amen to that.
Well, sir, I'm opening up a one-stop store for southpaws. Everything from left-handed apple peelers to left-handed zithers. Gotta call it the Leftorium. Ooh. So, Homer, I'm dying to know. What do you think of the Leftorium?
It sounds like a pretty dumb idea to me.
Oh, well, I know it's a little risky and it's going to be a lot of hard work, but gosh darn it, it's going to be a lot of fun, too.
Well, if it isn't the Leftorium. Hey, Flanders. How's business?
Oh, a little pokey, but things are going to pick up.
I'm telling you, Flanders' store was deserted. So what do you think of your bestest buddy now, Marge? Hey, Flanders. When are your busy hours?
Oh, I expect things to start picking up soon. You know, I think word of mouth is starting to spread.
Oof. Damned infernal gizmo. Make kingdom for a left-handed can opener. Mr. Burns?
Come on, Homer. Tell him about the store. I'm dying out here.
Sorry, Flanders.
$200 is only the asking price.
Sorry, Ned.
No, hey, I'm flexible. You don't have to pay all at once.
Doodly.
Homer, this is the Flanders' entire living room set. How much did you pay for this?
Only 75 beans?
$75? Ned must be desperate.
Does it make you feel good about yourself to owe people money? We've been very patient with you, Mr. Flanders.
I know, but... Wait a minute. I'm Homer Simpson. Ned Flanders lives over there. Flanders, I want to give you your stuff back.
Well, there's no house to put it in, Homer.
Brush off the clouds and cheer up. Put on a happy face.
Well, listen to that singing. Those poor fools. Homer, I'm ruined.
I know.
You know, at times like these, I used to turn to the Bible and find solace, but even the good book can't help me now.
Why not?
I sold it to you for 7 cents.
Oh.
You know, ever since that barbecue, nothing's gone right. It's like there's been a curse on me.
It's all my fault.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, you tried to warn me about gambling my family's future on so big and a poke. I didn't listen. Homer, you were a true friend.
Oh, I was just boy.
Anyway, back to this guy. He also lists technical college. I'm hoping it's an actual college and not him listing that as his way of saying he goes to Adonis School. However, I imagine he's listing Adonis School as his version of a technical college, given the fact that Adonis School is very anti-career, which I will prove to you later in this video. But that's comedy. Listing you go to a college in your dating app bios, but it's actually just Adonis School. Wow. Now next up, this is from the same email. It's another relationship thing in Adonis School. This guy yaps a bit, just like me for real, and sucks off Hamza a little, and he says he went from being a complete fucking incel who basically had zero contact with girls for 2 years, who is getting dates booked in now. See more. It most likely had something to do with your appearance changing in those 2 years. It could have been due to becoming less socially awkward, but that just happens as you grow older and have more social experiences anyway. Not something you need to pay Adonis School for, that's for sure. And I'm not just talking about parties, I'm talking about talking to co-workers at a job. Stuff you don't need to pay for to learn in a school. He mentions about following the advice closely, and if you do, the date will go better. Nah, the date goes well if your personalities jive. It goes back to what I said earlier. If you put on a facade for the date to go well, how long can you keep that up for? Now I have to give this guy some kudos. This girl took a 3-hour train ride to come and see you? Damn, great work, my man. Girls never usually put that kind of effort in these days. I wonder how it'll work out though if you do get into a relationship. Not saying long distance can't work, but it does pose some problems. But either way, for now, congrats on the W, bro. But did you notice something in this email? How did he describe this girl? He said cute. Crushed it on a date with a cute girl. His second line says, had a date with a cute girl yesterday. He didn't say this feminine girl or this high-value girl. He said cute. He is more focused on her physical appearance and even attached a picture for everyone. Notice how it's her face you can see the most of? He didn't attach her like gym pics with her booty out or whatever. You can tell this chick isn't fat from the picture, but if she was, I'm sure you'd be able to tell from her face. So, what point am I getting at? The point is, he's enamored with her appearance, most notably, her face. Given the fact that he used the word cute and attached a picture that pretty much just mostly shows her face, don't you think that maybe girls act this way for guys too? They attach a picture of his face and are enamored with how cute or hot he is? The answer is yes. So why are you in Adonis School, learning how to attract women, being a part of relationship courses, seduction courses, acting like a high-value male, etc., when in the meantime, whenever you talk about girls, you're more fixated on their physical appearance? I get that women care more about a man's income than men care about a woman's income, on average. I, for one, care how much a woman earns. But you do realize the attraction thing is also for women too, yeah? She'll be sharing pictures of you to her friend group showing off how cute you are. She's not going to be sharing stuff like, oh, he acts so masculine, the same way this guy mentioned nothing about how feminine she acts. So I'll cut that part here. I have more thoughts in a designated relationship video, but for now, just realize that your mileage may vary. Don't be suckered into Adonis School via testimonies like this. The results are not due to anything learned inside Adonis School. So, like my last video, I'll play some video segments from other channels talking about Adonis School. This way, you can see for yourself what's truly inside this school. I'll respond with text on screen instead of talking, since if I make an audio reaction segment, this will be more than 3 hours and it will take even longer to edit, since splicing reaction segments is honestly much more work than most other parts of the video. Sorry to anyone who's just listening, but you can still at the very least listen to what the former Adonis School students have said.
You're what you're saying, bro. So, I'm making this video because essentially I recently just left Adonis School, which is Hamza's private community. If you don't know who Hamza is, then I have no idea why you're watching this video. You're probably watching it because you know who he is, right? And you know that he has a community. He's this big self-improvement YouTuber, and about a year ago, April last year, he launched this new community called Adonis School. Essentially, it's this thing where you join for a certain fee, you pay a certain amount of money, and then what you get in return is you get live calls, Q&As, even recently guest calls, and you get access to a bunch of courses, and you get to talk to a lot of like-minded young guys, just like you, who are big fans of Hamza, and you're on self-improvement, right? And I joined because that's exactly who I was. I was, I guess, his dream avatar, if you want to call it that. And yeah, I was just excited to join. And, I wanted to level up my self-improvement, my YouTube, and all this jazz. But I recently decided to leave after 10 months of being inside because I had a lot of realizations. And it's funny because I've actually gone and watched a few videos of guys talking about the same thing I'm talking about. And it's essentially just the same reason every time, which is very interesting. It's the same people coming to the same realizations. For me, it took a little bit longer. For some guys, it literally took a month. For me, it took 10 months to really discover the detriment that it was having on my life, honestly. Because it got to a point where the school, I realized it was negatively impacting me more than it was benefiting me. And I guess I've discovered a different perspective that a lot of guys probably might not see who are in the school or who are considering to join. Now, I'm not here to fucking shit on the school. I'm not here to shit on Hamza. I'm just here to give you my point of view on what I've seen from someone who was inside the community and what I've noticed in how it's affected my life, both positively and I can't fucking speak, both positively and negatively. And it's been more negative in recent times, I'll be completely honest, just because I've had a lot of realizations. And probably wondering, how did I come about to realize that Adonis School was not for me? Essentially, I had this conversation with another young guy in there, and we were just talking, and I think we just had a conversation, and we came across this topic of maybe talking about like over-influence and low critical thinking, because this is something we both noticed. Like, a lot of the guys in there was kind of just blindly following and not really following their like own direction and just listening to Hamza like 24/7. So we were talking about that, and we just delved a bit deeper into the genuine impact that Hamza has on these guys who are in his community. And it goes deep. It goes very fucking deep. And I won't get into absolutely everything today, because if I went into absolutely everything, it would take fucking like 2 hours. But I want to talk about just why I decided to leave, and why the school is just not a good place to be, honestly, in my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion from someone who's been in the school and who's left. Of course, if you're in the school, you see this, you can disagree with me, whatever, go to the comments, all that jazz. But I've got a little list of stuff I want to talk about. So, Hamza is a very intelligent guy. He's very smart, he knows exactly what he's doing, and this is one of the first things I realised, is that he knows how to keep you trapped, essentially. Maybe trapped isn't the right word, but it's the word I'm going to use. He knows how to keep you trapped, and he knows how to make you listen to him on basically everything, even if it's something that he doesn't really know anything about. He's just hurt. He just watched like one podcast of a guy saying something like, I don't know, carnivore diet's the best, and he just starts preaching it. That's one issue, is that Hamza himself tends to fluctuate his beliefs and what he, you know, what he thinks quite often. And he says this is learning, and to an extent I actually agree that him changing what he believes and stuff is learning. Of course, if you contradict something you said 6 months ago, in 6 months you can change a lot as a person. It's absolutely fine. But it got to an extent where it's happening so often, and it's going against so much of what he says in very recent times, like literally just weeks before he said it, that it was. And because Hamza has such a grand influence on this community, thing is, if he was changing his beliefs and everything, like, just to himself, and he wasn't influencing so many young guys, that would be okay. But because he's got such an influence over these young guys, it means that they follow what he believes constantly. And so the community's beliefs, and the majority of the people in there, what they do with their life and what they believe sways and just goes in the same direction as Hamza's. And so there's very few guys who are actually doing super well in business in there, and also there's very few guys who actually stick to one thing for a long period of time without changing what they do because Hamza said so. So that's one thing. You know, I will say, in the community, I actually gained a lot. You know, I actually made some good friends, I met some great people, and I saw what was possible. These are the main things that were beneficial for the community. I saw what was possible. I saw guys who genuinely went from my position or worse off to making 10k a month. With, you know, in that, I saw that progress, and that was very inspirational, and it showed me what was possible. That's one of the biggest positives I took away from the community. But for most guys in there, they just have very low critical thinking. Very low critical thinking. In fact, it gets to a point where Hamza will say something, and these guys will just take it as the ultimate truth because they treat Hamza like he is a god. They treat him like he's a messiah. And I mean, a lot of these guys are very young, and they're very impressionable. And I'm not really here to judge the guys because, listen, they're improving their lives. I have nothing against that. I have the utmost respect for you if you want to improve your life. But it got to a point where it was less about improving yourself and self-improvement, you know, the self in self-improvement. It was more about Hamza improvement, Adonis improvement. So instead of becoming the best version of yourself and doing what you truly want to do, it was about doing what Hamza told you to do and then becoming essentially just a clone of him, even though you can't even, these guys, what they don't realize is that if you're trying to leave Hamza's shadow and you're trying to exit, you know, trying to maybe take him over in the self-improvement genre of YouTube or whatever, if all you're doing is taking advice from Hamza on how to exit the shadow of Hamza, then you're never going to exit the shadow of Hamza. That's just not how it works. If all you're doing is taking advice, and these guys, they wonder why everyone calls them a Hamza clone, they wonder why, you know, they get really like no views on YouTube, or they wonder why no one listens to them. And it's, for the most part, it's because they have low credibility. They're young, they haven't really done anything, and they're told, you know, to go on wonk mode and shit. In recent times in the community, in fairness, there was more of talk about going out and actually living life a bit more, so then you have things to talk about and you actually have credibility rather than just saying stuff that's repeated. This is another thing. It's a lot of young guys who are giving advice based on basically what Hamza said and not actually something they've been through themselves. And it's just a repeating cycle of just guys who haven't actually done anything or haven't done the thing they're giving advice on. They give the piece of advice. That guy then gives that piece of advice to someone else. It's just a repeating cycle where it's just guys just giving constant advice that they actually haven't been through. And they think they know a lot because they're, you know, that on self-improvement. Another thing is just this obsession with self-improvement as a whole. It's, there's some young guys in there who essentially are so caught up in this whole self-improvement mindset, because I hate that fucking word now. I just don't like that word. They get so caught up in being on self-improvement and thinking they're like the shit because I meditate for 10 minutes, I go gym, that they just stop thinking logically and they stop thinking with common sense. The thing is, like, it's like they want to be so different that they stop thinking with common sense and they start, because they want to be uncommon, they start thinking uncommon sense, if you know what I mean. Kind of a weird thing to say, but yeah, it's just, the biggest thing is that these guys follow Hamza like he is genuinely like a god, and like he knows everything, like he knows all the answers. And a big thing that really I really did not like in the community, something that Hamza preached to the guys in there was that, you know, basically, essentially, you're not successful like me. You can't trust yourself. This is what Hamza said. I'm not saying I'm successful. Essentially, he's saying to these young guys, you aren't successful like me. You can't trust yourself because you fap, you know, because you fapped 3 times one day. So listen to me because I know what's best for you. But he doesn't know what's best for you. That's the truth. Like, Hamza does not know who you are. He does not know what's best for you. And it's allowing these young guys to essentially stop trusting their own intuition, stop trusting themselves, and maybe stop doing what they truly want to do, and stop doing certain things because it doesn't fit this image of Hamza's version of self-improvement. And so all they do is listen to what Hamza says, and all they do is take his advice. And because they're constantly listening to him, and Hamza's constantly changing his mind and what he's doing, those young guys are then influenced to change their mind constantly, and then, you know, just not stick to one thing. And also stop doing things, or maybe they stop doing things that they genuinely want to do because it doesn't fit this image of self-improvement. But also, they begin to desire things and start to do things based on just something that Hamza said, when in reality, it's just creating more desires and more problems for them. So they could have, like, a thing in their life which is absolutely fine, or it's just creating more desires. And there's just so many fucking desires, and these guys, it's no wonder they can't stick to one thing at a time for, like, long enough, because all they're doing is getting more and more desires, and all they're doing is following Hamza and what he says. And so they just don't think for themselves, and all they do is live based on what Hamza tells them. And the argument that Hamza makes is, you know, you can't trust yourself because I'm 10 years older than you and I know better. But he's teaching these guys to not trust themselves and not trust their own intuition, and not go through life and actually experience things, and actually learn lessons the real way, which is like going out and actually living life and actually experiencing life and actually doing things, and not just reading a book and watching Hamza videos 24/7 and being on the community of, you know, just guys who are giving advice based on no experience, no credibility. That's really what it is. It's just a lot of young guys who are super, like, obsessed with this thing of self-improvement.
I was inside Hamza's Adonis School, his premium teaching platform, but I just joined for a month and then left. And here's the reason why. The first reason was there were too many fucking cucks. Like, whenever I would just post some criticizing comments, everyone would just jump in. Oh, actually, you're wrong. He is using his brain power for that. Then everyone would be like, he's a human, bro. He can make mistakes. Like, okay, but I'm just giving my feedback. Everyone was just like praising him like God. And the funny thing is, like, so many of them are just young fucking teenagers, which I do respect. Like, these young teenagers on self-improvement, they're making money online in this community. I'm not going to criticize his course because they were pretty good, especially the mindset and productivity, but most of this stuff was overrated. And he did say, like, this community is for people to make money, for entrepreneurs to join. But the money lecture he had, it was more about, like, this spiritual stuff, which I didn't understand. He was more focused on, like, oh yeah, money is bad, guys. You should focus on spirituality, which is okay, but if I'm paying money to learn how to make money, shouldn't I be learning that? He did mention, like, you should discover your purpose and flow state, discover your flow task or whatever. But turns out he already put that in the money guide that he made on YouTube for free. So I paid $500, even though it was like $700 for me because it was in Canadian. Fuck, I just got fucking scammed, bro. It was like a fucking Facebook wall as well. And I know it might seem like, oh, he's trying to hate on some Hamza fucking Sims are just gonna comment, oh, you were so hating on Hamza, blah, blah, blah. Fuck off, bro. I actually do specifically hate with this one guy. Honestly, I don't even hate it. I personally don't have any beef with him. But there was this fucking guy, he was fucking copying him, like, wearing the same bathrobe, even putting on the same lights as him on his fucking wall, talking like him, wearing his fucking jewelry. I think his name was like Zan Mia or some shit. He was making some fucking content on NoFap. But yeah, this motherfucker, he came on the comments and he started like, oh, you're not even giving any value. I just told him, bro, you should be your own person, find your own way to speak. This motherfucker just started commenting, oh, you're not even providing any value, you're just hating on me. People hate when they see some. I'm not fucking hating, bro. Come on. Everyone was just acting like Hamza is God or something. Like, yeah, we're there to learn. But you don't need to be a simp for him. Okay, I do think that I learned a little bit, but most of these guys were just followers. And I'm pretty sure they're just watching Hamza grow, and I'm sure they're not even doing anything. There was some like people who were making some amount of money, because Hamza did a poll, I think last week, in Adonis School, which was, I think, about how many of you guys are making money, and I think like only 20% were, which is so surprising. Like, so many people have joined this community and only 20% were making money. Like, come on, man. But yeah, I'm thinking what else was there. Oh yeah, he apparently has also released his like another product, which was Adonis Method, which was more focused on dating. And I did comment like, oh, why cannot we get the same thing? And like 2 people started spazzing out, just fucking replying to me. It doesn't make sense to be put in here. Are you dumb? Are you dumb? Hamza is an entrepreneur. He needs to make his money. He should do. Like, fuck off, man. Shut the fuck up. Stop fucking treating him like God. Yeah, you can respect him. Yeah, he has changed many people's lives. Sure. But you don't need to fucking... He's not perfect. He's not a fucking God. You guys, everyone was just like, oh yeah. Yeah, it's perfect. I know he did like a post, criticize me or something. Everyone just started commenting, wow, you are so humble. Wow, your humility is so great. Wow. Just fucking dick riding him all over the fucking community. And I know it might seem like I'm shitting on Hamza or I'm hating his product. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good. It was just the people inside of it. It was not Adonis School, it was fucking Jeffrey School. Just fucking teenagers who were literally dick riding Hamza. Followers. No one was showing his like uniqueness. Everyone was like trying to pretend they're him or something.
Okay, so now we're going to react to some comments left under those videos. Lol, why did it take you 20 seconds to start talking? That immediately loses you viewers. Lost me. Another Hamza fanboy that doesn't address any points listed in the video, just attacks the person or the channel size. The rebuttals are spot on. Goldfish attention span. My videos would kill them. He can't even wait 20 seconds, let alone the 2.5 hours plus that this video is probably going to be. It wouldn't be so long if Adonis School wasn't so full of crap. Anyway, he says, lost me, yet he still commented, so he didn't lose anyone. But again, this is a non-argument. It's closed-minded thinking. It's like a little 6-year-old kid in an argument in the playground where they cover their ears and go, la 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 la, can't hear you. It's the same attitude here. The fanboy responds to comments later and says, my attention span is almost guaranteed better than every single one of y'all's. No, it's not. You were crying over 20 seconds. I'm not going to waste it on a guy doing nothing. I'll use it to work on something more productive. Like what, fanboy? Your own self-improvement YouTube channel where you recycle everything Hamza said? Even then, it couldn't be that, since your channel is empty. Call me when you're at least halfway through your apprenticeship or your useful university degree, or you got a promotion at your job. You know, call me when you've done something that's actually useful. The second paragraph you can read for yourself if you want, but he says, even Hamza doesn't do that. Here it is again. Hamza is a god. What would Hamza do? Acting like Hamza is the divine authority on everything. Third paragraph, y'all must love staring at stuff that provides you no value, laugh emoji. Here, I got paint drying in my house. Wanna come see? What do you mean, your house? You mean your parents' house? So, this guy says he won't waste 20 seconds on an empty video and will use it on something more productive. And yet, here he is typing 3 paragraphs of yap responding to people. Something tells me he doesn't actually have anything better to do, but he's projecting hard. Now, when the fanboys left hater comments under my prior videos, which is great because it got some good engagement, I responded to them and debunked whatever they had to say. The problem is they're generally too brainwashed to see my point of view, so it's ultimately a waste of my time replying to them. So going forward, I'll probably just comment, responding because comments are good for the algorithm going forward. Because, unlike this kid, I legitimately have better things to be doing. Whenever I'm not at work, driving to work, or at the gym, which gobbles up more than 70 hours a week of my time, I'm either studying my post-tertiary educational qualification, checking out additional stock market information that I didn't see during the day, checking out real estate market information for when I get around to my investment property / second property, liaising with my home builder and working out what will be required in my house, working on anything related to my brand, which includes typing a script, recording audio, fixing audio, adding images, collating the audio and images, etc., or even plain just hanging out with my friends. So, the time it takes me to respond to a Hamza fanboy's arguments is probably best used elsewhere. I don't want to just dismiss their arguments, since it's such a wussy way of responding to hate, but it's honestly just a waste of my time, to be honest, especially given the volume of hate I get per Hamza video. It can take upwards of 30 minutes addressing a few arguments, and yet, ultimately, for my brand, it doesn't matter how long it takes me to make one comment, it's still just one comment. And 30 minutes is a huge amount of time for me. That's like a decent chunk of volume in the gym. That's a massive question in my CPA studies. That's a decent chunk of editing for a YouTube video. That's more than enough time to find a good stock trade. Hell, that's even a nice little bit of extra sleep. There's a pretty big difference for me between 7 hours and 7.5 hours of sleep. So chances are I'll just respond with, responding because comments are good for the algorithm going forward. Much simpler. I will answer any actual questions from you guys though, as in actual questions that aren't nonsensical arguments from the Hamza fan club. So this guy says he has better things to do and yet he responds with a comment that took more than 20 seconds to type. And then I turn around and say I actually have better things to do, yet I took the time to respond to his comment. Hypocrisy? Well, maybe. But this helps my case because 1, it shows the type of kids that are part of this Hamza fan club, so a lot of what they say just can't be taken seriously. And 2, it adds to my watch time, which ultimately helps the brand. Sorry if this is wasted time in your eyes. I felt this comment was relevant to the overall Adonis School thing regardless. Anyway, moving on. I was curious to see what it is actually like. I always kind of felt Hamza intentionally or unintentionally preys on insecure teens that haven't figured themselves out yet. Yep, correct. And those insecure teens are the ones talking shit in everyone's comment sections. Hilarious. Facts, bro. Hamza's where he is today because he's got some points, but the dude's also in his 20s. He's just offering his point of view, which could not apply to everyone who watches his stuff. Okay, well, if he's still learning stuff and sharing it, then why is he charging so much for it? Shouldn't be charging that much if you're still learning. An apprentice tradie doesn't charge top dollar for their service since they're still learning. Now, this is one long comment. I won't read it. Feel free to read it for yourself. But he mentions how Hamza has profits, so he's an accomplished entrepreneur in that sense, which is correct. And then he says if it's measured by value, then that's up for debate. Yes, correct. So I never said he didn't have profits/money. He clearly does. But most of that has come from the credit cards of impressionable teens' parents. And I'm saying he's providing no actual value, which is what I'm proving with this video. This next comment I won't read also. It's a little long, just like this video, so I'm trying to cull the duration now. But he basically says you can just move on after you've learned something from Hamza, which is true. He helped some kids earlier on, dragged them out of a deep, dark place, but that doesn't mean you still need to follow and praise him. He's served his purpose. Don't be like those alien things from Toy Story. You have saved our lives. We are eternally grateful. He helped you in the past. He can't really do that now since he's just trying to grift as much money from you as possible, so just move on. I too left. He was kicking out everyone even for slightest criticism. Yep, funny, because his crying fanboys were saying how he was more masculine than me. Last time I checked, I didn't block anyone for any criticism, and I also didn't cry before my job either, like he did with his call center job. Like, buddy, is this your king?
Is this your king? Huh? Is this your king?
Lol. Hamza's ego is so out of control the moment you say something that he doesn't agree with, you're banned from Adonis Gang. Adonis Gang or Adonis School? Either way, it feeds off the prior question and corresponds with what other students talked about in their videos, kicking anyone out for disagreeing with him. This is exactly what the next comment mentions too. Another long comment, but the important part here is, over the past few months, I've only had thoughts of what would Hamza do. Yikes, this is concerning. It's like, what would Jesus do? Except instead of a religious figure, it's some dumbass on the internet. Sheesh, guys, come on. Next comment, that's the problem with teenagers, they are easily manipulated. I already saw this when they all started YouTube channels but ended up being shitty versions of Hamza's self-improvement channel. Yes, 100%, I couldn't have said it better myself. It's what I was saying in my prior videos, how these Hamza fans' idea of a business was a self-improvement YouTube channel, and I'm like, well, if that worked, then where are the other channels with millions of subs? It's only really just Hamza. Do you think maybe Hamza got a little lucky with the algorithm? Did you ever consider that? And here are more comments showing the same sort of thing. The bottom comment, though, shows how other kids are trying to basically copy what Hamza has done, creating their own school communities. This will play into something I'll show a little later. Now, there was another video showing what was involved in Adonis Gang. I won't talk about it since I'm talking about Adonis School here, the disgustingly overpriced one. I mean, if you have a free community, it's fine, it's free, it's whatever, right? The fact that he's charging so much for the school is why I'm attacking it so relentlessly. But sus this comment. I agree with the commenter here, as you can see from the thumbs up I've given, but it's another school community clone. It's like, don't join Hamza's Adonis School, join mine instead. Goes to show how so many people are just Hamza clones. It's Hamza improvement, not self-improvement, as another comment has previously said, as well as the video from the former student I was showing before. And this also ties into another comment I'll mention later, a comment from a Hamza fanboy showing there's just no logic or reasoning. And on this same video, there's another wild fanboy here. He says, Hamza is an entrepreneur after all. I don't get why people always criticize people whose goal is making money for trying to make money. Hamza has some great advice. No, he doesn't. As long as you don't take anything related to studies and science from him. Okay, fanboy, where's his money coming from? It's coming from you. And in exchange for what? A valuable service? Fuck no, he's scamming you and you're too impressionable and young to realize it. No one criticizes people for making money. You get criticized for your methods of making money. If I rob an old lady because she has a huge retirement nest egg she's got stashed in her home from working her whole life, I don't deserve to be criticized because I'm just trying to make money, right? No one is talking shit about Mr. Beast. At least I haven't seen anything that's actually valid. He makes way more than all of us because his money-making method isn't scamming anyone. He also says not to take his advice from science or studies. Well, then that shows this fanboy knows Hamza is a dumbass, so if he can't accurately give good advice after reading studies or science, then why would you listen to anything he said? Take me, for example. This diet has been constructed via me reading the science behind nutrition and making dietary choices accordingly. But don't take my word for it. Go and read the science and studies yourself. But at the very least, I'm able to understand it and give a pretty good recommendation from it. And yet, fanboys are saying that he has good advice except if it's related to science and studies? What? I'm guessing you're saying his life advice from his personal experiences is good, but it's not. He worked in a call center for a couple of years tops, which isn't a very high-skilled job, which makes sense since he got a practically useless degree. See my choosing a career video for more info on that. And he cried before that job too, since he's so masculine. So this is the guy you're taking life advice from? Hey, your funeral, bro. Alright, so Adonis School aside, there has been more slander to Hamza's antics recently, not relating to Adonis School at all, just him personally, I suppose. I won't react to everything I've seen since this video is already going to be plenty long enough, and the idea was to slander Adonis School specifically, including all the contents and value inside it. However, I will play some segments that I found interesting/amusing. The purpose of this is to show you who is running Adonis School. Like, this is the guy you're trusting to teach you all about this other stuff in this course. And even if it's not him and it's his coaches or teachers, he's the one who's picking them. So I'll just play random segments of other videos, and I might have some on-screen reactions, but no audible ones because it'll just pad out the video length even longer.
Technically, 90% of men are incels. 90% of men aren't having sex, aren't dating. And would you penetrate yourself? If you wouldn't sleep with yourself, why would some other girl be so excited to sleep with you? Here, look at yourself and think, is that the guy that you want to penetrate you? Imagine you're a girl. Would you get down on your knees to the point that you've got some friction burn on your fucking kneecaps and suck your own dick? So if you put some of your money into a company like Apple, or you put it into the big index funds like Apple and 500 different companies, you're giving them money to help them with their business, and you're hoping that since they think that you're a good boy, they'll give you a little bit more money in return. I think your PP size has to be very small for that, because if you understand this concept of investing, why would you invest in someone else's business instead of your own?
This guy really doesn't understand investing.
If you understand this concept of investing, why would you invest in someone else's business instead of your own?
Because my business is not worth multiple billions of dollars. Yeah, actually, I do have more faith in a multinational corporation that has headquarters in almost every single country where there's not active war going on. Billions a year of net profits every single year. Yeah, I think I trust them with my money. I trust that they're gonna grow, and I'm gonna make the money that I invested into them back. He tries to make it sound weird, like you're submissive for investing in Apple, which is the weirdest angle to go at this from. He's like, oh, you're assuming Apple's gonna think that you're a good boy and send you some of the money back. It's well, they're contractually, legally obligated to if they make money. That's how investing works. And it's also not like there's many people investing more money into Apple than their own business to begin with, so they're not mutually exclusive. It's not like, oh, if you invest in Apple, you have no money left to spend on your own company. I think it's the opposite. Any money you have left over after investing in everything you can for your business, that goes to index funds and the FANG stocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, if your cat's been misbehaving, yeah, go get it castrated. It's a normal thing. Have you ever really stopped to just think shit, that's kind of what I'm doing to myself when I check off? You're castrating yourself, man.
Science kind of disproves everything you just said, but okay.
This is gonna sound weird. You need to be hit in the face. I will repeat that again. As a young man, you need to be hit in the face consistently. Trust me. When one gorilla becomes the alpha, he sleeps with all 5 of the female ones. He sleeps with all 5, tries to impregnate them, and once he's done, literally inseminating all 5, then he maybe lets number 2, his right-hand man, the gorilla below him, sleep with the rest of them too. Maybe the right-hand man, number 2, gets 3 of them or 4 of them. Maybe number 3, male gorilla, gets 1 of them. And the bottom 4 gorilla and the 5th gorilla jack off in the corner. 20% of men are literally coming on their wall. 20% of men, they fap and they don't nut into tissues. They literally just do it all over the floor and the bed sheets. The bottom 20% of men are wall comers.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Then from 20 to 50 is the really weird guys. They just stink, they're just weird as fuck. You barely see them out or anything. They're the kind of guys who watch porn all the time and everything. When you get to the top 1% of men, at that point, pretty much every woman you ever see is either yours or she's another guy's who's at the top 1%. I'm better than 99% of the people who are my age. I sound like a massive fucking dick. You're not supposed to say that in this modern day, are you? Everyone's so fucking pathetic these days that you're not allowed to say what is a blatant fucking fact.
Oh,
I'm more narcissistic than 99% of people my age.
I'm better than like 99% of the people who are my age. You need to be hit in the face. Everyone says, okay, get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, but sleep is not the same as hours in bed. Everyone allocates like 8 hours to bed, 7 hours to bed. If you actually like track your sleep meticulously, you'll realize that hours in bed is not the same as hours actually asleep. They put on more calories and more fat just because they were told the second milkshake was more unhealthy. That should blow your fucking mind. Or start going to sleep, tape in your mouth. So I go to sleep every single night with a little bit of tape like this just over my lips. Propaganda that's being spread to young men these days and telling you to open up to your girlfriends. You want a girl who's obsessed with you? I'm gonna teach you some fucking truthful, like somewhat dark shit, but you want a girl who's obsessed with you, bro? Make her feel all the emotions possible. Make her cry, make her happy, excite her, scare her, make her feel any emotion possible, disgust her, make her angry, make her so happy, make her like so happy she cries.
Someone finally says the truth! So powerful! That's kind of abusive.
As a man, that's one of our greatest strengths. We can choose to feel angry. I can literally turn on my anger right now and I can turn it off. I can choose what I want to feel. Spend a week away from technology, meditate for a couple of weeks. So you can choose what you want to feel. And feminine women are only attracted to men who are like stoic, cold rocks, even though they don't want to admit this. The rise of this message of telling men to open up perfectly correlates with the rise of male suicides. Less men kill themselves when we were masculine. The rise of this message being spread to men perfectly correlates with the rise of suicides. People don't realize how manipulative and evil this is. That I am seen as the bad guy for telling you to be stoic. When men were more stoic and more masculine back in the 1900s, suicide was less common. They've got to be stupid to believe calories in, calories out. Like, oh, but it's physics, the laws, bro. What actually matters is what this nutrition is doing to our hormones. None of the fitness influencers know anything more than just, oh, calories and like 76 grams of protein. Whatever you eat just has an effect on your hormones. And when you eat shitty junk food, your hormones get fucked. Sugar skyrockets your insulin. Your insulin goes up, your leptin goes down, and that causes you to overeat.
As a doctor, this makes me laugh. You literally said leptin decreases so you eat more at the end. Therefore, it literally is calories in versus calories out. Hormones play a role, but it's not as big as you think.
Oh, this new narrative that you keep hearing that men should open up and be emotional and be in touch with their feminine side, it's pure evil. This like femininity is all about like being focused on love and not like her career just yet. Too many guys overlook this with this attitude of like, oh, but I don't care what anyone thinks of me. That's so unnatural. People around you, their opinion should matter to you. You should care what people think about you. 20% of men are literally coming on their wall.
You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and Hamza is starting to become that villain. If you're not your thoughts, then what are you?
Your thoughts do not define you. That it all changed, it all made sense. Of course your thoughts don't define you. What defines you is who you actually are. What are the core values that you stick to?
And Hamza's core values have been very questionable recently. He made a video called Hamza vs. Jeffrey, and in that video, all he did was make fun of someone who kept leaving hate comments.
She's just an average girl. You're showing her off as if you won the lottery. Let's see your girlfriend, bro. This guy's still spamming, bro. He's still saying the same thing. He's just like, she's just an average girl. She's just an average girl. Relax, bro. You speaking about how masculine you are makes her drier than the Sahara Desert. I think you should date her, bro. You seem like the champion who knows about girls better than I do, bro. Aravind, what's your Discord, mate? So this guy keeps leaving fucking hateful comments in this stream so far, calling me cringe, saying that I'm drying her up and stuff. Okay, Aravind Nair, drop your Discord. We'll hop onto a Discord call with you right now and we'll see your flirting game. And we'll see if Abby is impressed, then you can have her number. You can take her from me, bro. If you can impress us with your flirting game, since you know so much better than I do, bro. He's the guy who goes to approach a girl, gets rejected, and he's like, oh, she's fat anyway. Okay, bro.
Which meant that the video boiled down to being not educational or self-improvement related at all. And you cannot tell me that you can't smell the insecurity reeking off of him. He has said before that he values love a lot, and it would be understandable if he were to get slightly insecure when the woman that he loves is getting insulted. His woman gets insulted, and he instantly goes to, let's see your girlfriend, and you should try date her. He would understandably feel insecure if someone is saying that his woman is no good, when I imagine that Hamza thinks the world of her. Or he may feel threatened in his position with his woman, and when someone says something negative, He wants to prove himself, so that everyone else can see how much more of a competent man he is compared to the man who's giving his woman hate. Everybody, including Hamza, knows that he himself is more competent, and so he keeps challenging the other man who's giving hate, because he knows that the other man is no competition, and he's showing arrogance and not confidence. Confidence means that you are sure in yourself, and you don't need to put others down to feel good about yourself. Whereas arrogance means that you do need to put others down to feel good about yourself, because you aren't truly that confident in yourself. And so it is clear as day that Hamza is trying to put the other man down so he could look better when in comparison to him. And I think this is especially true because he said that guys like Arvin would become bitter if they got rejected. So Hamza's saying how weak of a man Arvin would be because he would get bitter and wouldn't be able to handle rejection. And this is even more so true because Hamza spent over 10 minutes on livestream talking shit to him, and he then decided to take that clip of the livestream where he was talking shit and upload it to YouTube. So it's clear that Hamza just wanted to look much better than Arvin. And I think this was to put Arvin down and to make Hamza himself look like the bigger man. And from the video, Hamza addresses the criticism. He says that
quit watching brainless entertainment content. If you're watching that on YouTube, then yeah, stop watching YouTube. You're a grown-ass man. You don't need entertainment, bro. You don't need entertainment. You need education.
And then goes on to explain that point further. So he says this, and then goes on to upload that video called Hamza vs Jeffrey, which really is more like entertaining content rather than anything else. There wasn't anything educational in that video, nothing to take away to make our lives better. He is changing as a man and as a creator, and is starting to contradict himself with the things that he said in the past. In the video, Hamza takes the bait and goes off on anime profile pictures again. The video starts off with someone defending anime.
So much joy. Forgive us for having fun, Hamza. Forgive us for having fun, Hamza. Let me fucking go on a rant here. Hang on, let me...
The fact that he needs to go off on an emotional rant shows that he is pure emotional discipline. He's giving his time of day to pointless things like people watching anime. He knows that he could go off on a rant about anything on live stream, and most people in the stream will support him and back him on anything he says. Contrast someone wanting to watch anime to his response to Sneeko when Sneeko made fun of him, which I will also get into later. He then goes on to say,
imagine like meeting a guy like this, going to shake his hand and he's got fucking cum on his hands.
This is a very childish and obviously unlikely scenario, and is only saying this childish joke to make fun of him. And he knows he can get away with it, and his viewers will back him up, and then he goes on to preach facts.
Oh, well, Hamza's not having any fun. Hamza's not having any fun because he doesn't watch anime or he doesn't play video games. Like the men who are your friends, the men who are around you, their mentality is that if you don't play video games and you don't watch anime, that you aren't having fun in your life.
And I understand that he gets angry and aggressive on proving his points, because it means that he will get his point across better, especially to the people who are on the fence. But he has said before that he doesn't reply to hate comments on his YouTube videos because he would get too emotional. But now he is replying to hate in the form of live streams, with emotions and all. Hamza getting angry about people watching anime is the equivalent of Andrew Tate getting angry at people drinking still water. People know this, and they also know that they will be able to get an emotional response from Hamza if they talk about watching anime. And so it means that there will be much more trolls in his comments and his live streams now, trying to provoke a response from him, and it will purely be his fault for reacting to it in the first place. He lost his freedom through discipline. He lost his freedom to live a peaceful life and to not care about pointless things, and is now trapped onto focusing his attention onto pointless things that drain his mental and emotional energy. Titled Why You Need to Learn Self-Defense.
He just started beef. I'd fucking swat him if he came up to me like that. Like, everyone just looks away like fucking cowards. Yeah, I know, fucking cowards, bro. Look, this is what everyone just fucking stood there.
The man is walking around what looks like alcohol in his hand, so he could be potentially dangerous. And so he's walking around, and Hamza points out how everyone's kind of looking away and not doing anything. And he calls them cowards, all while he sat and videoed it all happening, not doing anything. And the video was only 1 minute long, so he probably was watching before he started recording, and kept watching him after he stopped recording. And so it really feels like Hamza feels like he's this big superior person who can judge others and he can't be wrong. And so he's calling others cowards while he's not doing anything. In the video How a Feminine Woman Will Change Your Life, near the end of it, he says,
fuck is it good, bro. I feel like a fucking man. I don't know if it's too much information, but bro, I'm having sex like honestly probably more than 8 times a day now.
And he feels more masculine in being with her, which quietly inflated his ego to the point where he's misaligned now from his character. He has no need to stay true to his morals or his character anymore, as he was improving himself to get what he has now. And now that he has it, he feels like he doesn't need to improve anymore or even maintain himself. A while ago now, he made a video called Don't End Up Like Sneeko. And in that video, he was the peaceful and fair man that he should be. And he said a lot of things that Sneeko was doing wrong, but that he now does himself.
And now you're just sitting there reacting to other YouTubers, dishing out insults.
Disgusting beliefs and personality. Holy fuck. I know this sounds horrible, but I never want to meet one of you guys. Like one of you fucking anime profile pictures, Aravind and stuff. Imagine like meeting a guy like this, going to shake his hand and he's got fucking cum on his hands.
You've probably been reacting live to this video, acting like a proper Jeffrey, getting like insulting, getting loud and swearing.
Do not allow these guys to fuck your future wife. Do not allow them to pull you back down to this bucket. These anime profile picture motherfuckers. Look at them still complaining. They're at the bottom of this bucket trying to pull you back. Anime's fine. Hamza's gone crazy. 1 hour of video game. Shut up. Look back down that bucket, bro. Punch him in the fucking nose, bro. Fucking anime profile pictures. They've always got a lot to say, don't they? Hamza's being offensive. Hamza's being too serious about it. Hamza's overdoing self-improvement. He's saying to be productive all day, but I want to play video games at the end of the day. Like, shut up. But at the end of a fucking hard day of work, I want to play video games. Shut up.
We are the average of the content that we consume. People are becoming more like you when they watch your content. I think you should take the responsibility to just keep in mind to always try to be a positive influence on the lives of your viewers.
He's the guy who goes to approach a girl, gets rejected, and he's like, oh, she's fat anyway. Okay, bro. Fuck me, bro. If you go to ever shake a fucking anime profile picture guy's hand, and then you just look at your hand afterwards, it's like, what's all this, like, yogurty? What this? Oh. Never, bro, if you know that a guy watches anime, never shake his hand, bro. Oh my god, imagine, I'd get pissed off, bro. Fucking anime guys, bro.
But recently I found myself just not clicking on your content again, just thinking, oh, more drama, more obnoxiousness.
Like, oh, well, Hamza's not having any fun. Hamza's not having any fun because he doesn't watch anime or he doesn't play video games.
He tells Nico, have humility, see your weaknesses and be able to improve on them instead of staying complacent. And Hamza needs to remember this himself. Be able to see what he has been doing wrong and notice that he has been misaligning from his character. A lot of what he says is communicated aggressively, so to provide an emotional response to those who disagree or are on the fence. For example, he says, why would you want something in moderation that is inherently bad for you? And he says this quite loud and aggressively, which is fair and understandable. But then he has the same tone and intensity when talking about stupid things like anime profile pictures.
Break down the criticism into parts and explain it clearly. I'm not going to go easy on you, Hamza, because of our past friendship. I'm going to be brutally honest and you're just going to have to deal with it. First, your handling of your ex-girlfriend was hypocritical, and here's why. You showed her on camera. Literally a million guys knows what she looked like. You talked openly about how you demolished her in bed and put her on her knees and all this like graphic detail. It means a million guys have visualized her getting railed, like absolutely demolished. That's the level of a porn star, you know what I mean? And you left her for even more attractive girls. The problem isn't that you broke up with the female, like that happens even with the best of intentions, right? The problem is that you created another alpha widow, you created more degeneracy on the society, and you potentially caused irreparable damage because you wanted to party and be social and do business. You couldn't hold the commitment. The problem is you talked about having kids with her, publicly even, and then you pulled the rug, couldn't go through with it, right? The problem is that you were giving advice on finding a wife and having a long-term relationship when you didn't really know anything about that topic. You talk about the degeneration of Western women, but you just created potentially one more broken female. You took a potential traditional wife, as it were, and made her undateable and unmarriageable because any man who wants to marry this chick, right, is going to come across videos of you talking her in the most sexual way. Now, I can understand completely that relationships can fail and things happen, people drift away, but to do this in public does her more harm than does you. You talk about how she lost attraction for you when you stopped acting like James Bond and started being more authentic to yourself. You're basically saying that you need to play a character to keep attraction, but that's not practical. It doesn't make sense because no one can play a character forever. To summarize, you clearly were giving out advice in a very authoritative manner, like a teacher, like a leader, about a topic that you were simply not an expert on. You were a student in that topic, but you were speaking as though you were an expert. It's just the wrong thing to do, but it was done. You shouldn't share bedroom secrets about a girl online. That's just obvious at this point. You shouldn't show her face. And you've basically allowed a million guys to visualize her getting smashed, right? So here's a recommendation. Obviously, don't do that. And of course, change out the thumbnails where your old GF shows up. Delete the videos which she actually appears, because it's not about you. It's about her dignity as a woman. And here's a personal prediction. I don't know if this will happen, but I think there's a small chance that they do get back together in the future. But regardless, the second criticism that Hamza gets is that he keeps on flip-flopping on his views. So you, Hamza, yes, you change your mind quite often. That in itself is not wrong, but whenever people criticize you saying you are always changing your mind, you've changed, you always come back with this NPC reply. It's kind of a pre-programmed script saying, oh, bro, you haven't? Like that's some kind of genius comeback. It's not a genius comeback, it's just a linguistic trick to avoid the issue. The accusation is that your ego is too big, and your NPC reply is, yeah, it's because I'm so successful, guys. I make so much money. The recommendation I give you is stop calling yourself cult leader. That's where the problem truly arises. Because otherwise people will understand that you're just a leader, a solid man worth following, but you're not a cult leader, right? To call yourself a cult leader, it means you have to be perfect. You have to do everything exactly correct because you're leading a cult. I think it's outlived its usefulness, right? It's kind of cringe at this point. Think about it. When you're 50 years of age, are you still going to be calling yourself a cult leader? Probably not. It'll be so stupid if you're calling yourself 50 as a cult leader. So the branding needs to change, and the cult leader thing has to be phased out, and the time for phasing it out is right now. While it's true that different viewers want different things, and you cannot possibly please everybody, it wouldn't hurt to show viewers some gratitude, especially because you pioneered the whole gratitude type messaging on YouTube, told us how it's important to have gratitude for good mental health. If you show gratitude to anything, it has to be your viewers, surely. Especially as you move on to a businessman and you want to make businessman slash entrepreneurship type content, the cult leader branding doesn't even really help you or apply. Just take it around back, shoot it, be done with it. Finally, we go to Adonis School. Is Hamza a scammer? Is Adonis School a scam? No, absolutely not. Adonis School is a legit product with tons of great content inside. The courses are legit, the calls are legit. I've been in Adonis School probably since day one. Hamza added me to it. And I've learned enough from Adonis School to build my own community and courses. So what's the future of the masculinity movement? I think in its current form, it's dead. And think about it. It's not actually that masculine to talk about masculinity 24/7. It's like that old Marcus Aurelius quote, waste no more time arguing what it means to be a good man. Be one. The modern version of this is waste no more time arguing what a masculine man should be. Be one. So that's where we are at the masculinity movement. It's kind of everything which is supposed to be said has already been said. I think everybody's kind of sick and tired of the same old talking points, and we want to focus on a higher tier of knowledge. I've championed the esoteric health movement for a while. That's only one aspect of it. Hamza is essentially going to be doing the business version of this. He's going to be providing business knowledge that nobody else is talking about. I think it's very valuable. I think it's the right space to be in for him. The next wave of creators is going to lead a new type of movement. The new breed will be authentic, but not authentic for shock value. The new breed will be polarizing, but not to be polarizing for its own sake. I believe that the next wave of creators will speak more openly about religion and prayer, and I welcome this change. And I believe that the next generation of creators will be more masculine without yapping about masculinity 24/7. I want real men who've actually lived life to step up and start talking. I want to hear from firemen, police officers, soldiers, doctors, engineers, fathers, grandfathers, plumbers, electricians, lumberjacks, and so many life experiences which I've just never had. Earlier in the video, I talked about how there's different definitions of man, and each of these movements had different definitions. I'm just sick and tired of this whole masculinity movement. It feels like a LARP. You know what LARPing is? LARPing is basically when a bunch of guys, they pick up foam, shields, and swords, and they do a mock battle. And from afar, it might look like a real battle, but when you get close to it, it's kind of a joke. That's what the masculinity movement is slowly becoming. And I'm just done with it. I reject it. I'm just too old for it. And I ask the question, what comes next? The movement of self-improvement and masculinity is set to crumble under the weight of its own contradictions. The self-improvement, think about it, self-improvement is self-centered, and any man of true worth will be dissatisfied with this. And of course, speaking about masculinity all the time isn't even that masculine. So is the Hamza era of self-improvement and masculinity really over? I think so. I think these small dick influencers who cannot reinvent themselves will die out. But what about Hamza himself? Well, Hamza, I think he's just getting started.
Well, okay, so The list, keep this in mind, the list that would be created for the perfect wife of a teenager or a young adult who has no experience would be massively based on fantasy. And even Hamza, he shares his list in that video, okay? And trust me, this is accurate, what I'm telling you. All of this is accurate. I have past videos where I cover this. And again, it will be on the main channel, okay? Gokunaru's channel. But he shares his list, and his list it's like so on the nose. It's like, she needs to be rich. She needs to come from like a rich family. She needs to be completely pure, never even kissed a guy, never had any kind of relationship outside of him. She needs to have no male friends, okay, which is a big meme, all right?
And actually stay celibate to not have sex up until you meet that woman.
Bro, don't you sell a sex course?
But he sells a course on how to have better sex. Literally, Hamza has a sex course, a high-ticket sex course, which he sells not publicly, like not on his main channel or anything, but only on his like down low channels.
Then he'll change the title to Reject Degeneracy and Embrace God.
You being a degenerate, and degenerate is essentially you having sex outside of marriage and outside of for family, is still hugely consequential for you.
I am now. And you said, oh, like if we were still seeing each other, like I'd try and make it happen, like I could see it happening. Like who says that to their girlfriend?
But no, women who are trying to improve are write-offs if their dad's not around.
What I want my future wife to be like. Parents are together, obviously. The mother admires and respects the father. The mother's still attractive. They're successful and they're wealthy.
Isn't that fun? That one's interesting, isn't it? The mother's still attractive. That is interesting.
Family, they're in like my like work like class, like zero sexual past. Literally nothing. Beautiful. Feminine energy. She either really wants to be like a housewife and a full-time mother, or she has like a really cute, wholesome job that she like really enjoys. She's positive, happy, giggly. She's warm. Her friends have all got similar values. And I'm gonna tell you the truth. What I wrote here, her friends, no men.
Friends go to suck another man's dick tonight. If I let her out of my sight.
And so what you just witnessed was him painting a fantasy, okay? A fantasy. And it's like...
Alright, lastly, we're going to address some hater-ass comments since it'll show you the type of brainwashing that goes into Hamza's fan club. In my last video, I talked about some hater comments, so the ones I'm using here were ones I received after I made that video. This is a longer one. I'll read the most noteworthy parts. The first para, he says the value of the school is being around people who want to be like you. Well, it's more so you want to be like Hamza, but alright. As well as to actually speak to Hamza one-on-one. So I already talked about those points in this video. Like, oh god, we might be able to talk to Hamza one-on-one, what an honor. Let's pay a fuckload of money for the chance of that. Stop calling everything a scam. What do you mean everything? Besides Adonis School, what else did I call a scam? Third paragraph, it is a false promise. That's why other students have left already. 2,000 guys making livable income? We heard earlier from a former student that only 20% are making an income. 20% of 2,000 is not 2,000. Adonis School student math at its peak. You're clearly trying that with his channel and failing at it, LeMayo. I'm not clearly trying to make a livable income. It's a side income. And although I am failing at it, LeMayo, I actually got 1,000 subs this year and became monetized. Not ad monetized yet, but the channel is growing. So it's not actually failing, it's going in the right direction. Failing implies it's headed in the wrong direction. I don't tell the medical students you're failing at becoming a doctor when they're 75% of the way through their education just because they're not an actual doctor yet. They're headed in the right direction. Bro, show me your face, physique, bank balance. You criticize Hamza, keeping your face unrevealed. Like, how can we trust you? I was probably too emotional with my response here. I remember this day actually. I'd just woken up and I was on the toilet taking a shit when I saw this. I woke up and chose violence that day. Probably came across as an emotional little bitch, but oh well, it is what it is. So my face, made a video as to why I don't show that already. Physique, I've shown that here before. Not sure what that has to do with anything though. And bank balance? Okay, here you go. Not sure why bank balance also matters. If you really wanted to judge someone's finances, you'd ask for their net worth. How do you know someone doesn't have all their wealth in real estate and stocks? Maybe they barely have anything in their bank accounts. I only have a large stash of cash on the sidelines since I need it for my down payment for my house. Under normal circumstances, I would never have a cash balance this large unless I knew for a fact that the stock market was only headed down for the foreseeable future. Also, not sure why my face matters, unless he's thinking, oh, you're only talking shit because you're ugly, which probably isn't the case based on the stuff I've shown earlier in this video. But once again, no one is addressing any arguments/points I made. It's just, oh, you must be ugly and out of shape and poor, right? Lastly, he's like, how can we trust you? What? I'm not selling anything. I'm not saying, don't pay for Adonis School, pay for Gamification School. You don't have to trust me. Listen to my arguments and form your own conclusion. I'm just trying to help you a little, bro. Next comment, your whole life is around talking shit on the internet. How depressing can that be? Try providing actual value instead of bringing down others, and maybe you'll make more than 5k views as the most popular video out of 135. All your most popular videos are just talking down on Hamza. Like, think about how pathetic is that, where you can't even perform on your own without relying on talking low of the same guy over and over again. My whole life is talking shit. Interesting. Last time I checked my CPA studies, house, stable income streams, gym performance, stocks, etc. didn't involve talking shit. Try providing actual value. I did, lol. I referenced multiple valuable videos I've made in this one here. My most popular videos are talking shit. Yes, that's how attention generally works. The bigger brand names attract more attention. Obscure example here, but this OG Crash Bandicoot motto, Erumu, has some videos with more than 100,000 views, but the majority don't. Why? Maybe because some videos went viral. Some videos utilize the brand name of Crash Bandicoot better than others. Funny also because the channel Ryan Horgan, which I showed earlier, has something similar. His biggest video is on Hamza by a country mile. Are you in his comments crying about someone talking shit about your daddy? I have seen some fanboys in his comments section. As per usual, they weren't addressing any points he made in the video. They're just saying, oh, you're just doing it to grow your channel, or something along the lines of, this video sucks. How about you address the points made in the video? If I argue, I hate this chair, it's uncomfortable to sit on, and you argue, shut up Jeffrey, you're just saying that to get attention. How is that addressing what I've said? It's legit the same here. But the comments from the fanboys not only don't address the arguments, but they're also the wrong messengers. Even if they had the right message, they're the wrong messengers. A bunch of unaccomplished teenage fanboys who worship some internet douche as a god are talking shit about this Ryan guy who has managed to live a good life. Like, lol, you teenagers have no right to be talking shit to Ryan Horgan. Or me. So back to the comment, he says my whole life is talking shit on the internet. I can't perform on my own without talking shit about Hamza, but yet he also knows I have 135 videos on my channel. A handful of them at most relate to Hamza, so I can stand on my own without talking shit about him. It's just the views are higher when I do, simply due to a form of trend jacking. Anyway, the funniest part is, this guy has an anime profile pic. I personally don't care. You do what you want, but Hamza hates you guys.
And personality, holy fuck. I know this sounds horrible, but I never want to meet one of you guys, like one of you fucking anime profile pictures, Aravind and stuff. Imagine like meeting a guy like this, going to shake his hand and he's got fucking cum on his hands.
He talks shit about people with anime profile pics, and you're out here defending him? Once again, the comments from the Hamza fanboys are not only invalid, but the people actually making the comments are the last people who have any right to talk shit. So this dude says, you're a loser dude, cringe AF. How? And then he types a separate comment, you know you've ruffled some feathers when they double comment on a YouTube video. I don't know why he has 3 likes, which one of y'all are agreeing with him? But he says, I spend 3+ minutes blowing myself. I wish I could do that. Funny since Hamza sucks himself off all the time.
I'm better than like 99% of the people who are my age.
And yet apparently that's okay. And even then, all I did in that video was mention how my real estate investment was a really good one. I also mentioned my career and stock trades briefly. He didn't say anything about my stock trades being bad or my career being bad because he knows he can't argue with that. And he especially can't argue with my real estate investment. He only has me as a person to attack. So he says, I'm not a finance guy, bro, despite the fact that I'm in accounting and I do the stock market trading thing. And I'm not smart enough to operate a bell, whatever that means. I can hear it in the video. Yeah, you can gauge someone's intellect from their voice in a 9-minute video. So he goes on to link a video, which is his channel, and, well, to no one's surprise, this guy ain't the best. He literally mentions how he has 5 friends and is unemployed. Like, these are the people defending Hamza. Lol, I'd show you the actual video he posted where he says he's a loser himself, but I think he has some sort of cognitive problem based on the way he speaks and what he said about himself. So I won't put him on blast, and even then, I'm not going to cry that hard over a hater comment. I'm only showing y'all these because I am yet to receive any haters/criticism that addresses any points I've made. The closest thing I've gotten is, oh, the community has value, which I just don't see at all, to be honest. Anyway, back to this commenter. He says he's a senior in college and works out daily. Well, working out each day isn't the most optimal for hypertrophy, unless he's a boxer or something, like a proper athlete, but he's not. You can see from his videos this guy's pretty skinny. So when he says he works out daily, doesn't mean he's some sort of jacked lad. Maybe he's referring to doing some jumping jacks in his room. And him being a senior in college only matters if he's doing a useful degree. I briefly remember he was doing math from something I recall seeing, which is actually pretty solid, but I can't be sure. Still got to wait till he's actually employed via that degree though. But admittedly, this is a confusing situation. How is he almost done with college for an apparently useful degree? Pretty sure you can get some sort of engineering jobs from that math degree. But he's defending Hamza's Adonis School, which is very anti-career. Unless he's just super insecure and hates seeing others doing better than him. I don't know, but my point is, Hamza defenders not only never actually address any criticisms towards him, but they're also some of the last people on earth who should be talking shit. Okay, so I think that's it. Normally a long video like this has a long outro, but I've said all I need to. Hopefully I don't need to talk about Adonis School again. Anything short of a response from Hamza himself, or something drastic changing in terms of the Adonis School landscape won't get a response from me. Hopefully there's no more events that cause Adonis School to rise in popularity, or another email providing some fake estimate of the value of the school. Now, Hamza isn't the only scammer out there, but he's the one I'm most familiar with. And as fun as it would be for me to be like some mini CoffeeZilla of sorts, just debunking scams, it'd take up too much of my time doing homework on that stuff. I can talk about Hamza's stuff without much research since 1, I know what he was like in the past, and 2, my audience keeps tabs on him too, so they'll share anything noteworthy with me. Everything else I talk about on this channel generally doesn't require much digging from me since I'm already heavily acquainted with the topics I discuss. I know some people want to hear my thoughts on the first man timeshare thing. I haven't seen anything about it. I may have a look at it. On one hand, I want to give the audience what it wants, and I want to be fair, since I've criticized Hamza, and I had a comment in a prior video calling me biased since I was reluctant to criticize First Man, since I've had an interaction with him, which is where the bias sort of comes from. And although I didn't mean for myself to come across that way, the commenter is probably correct. To be honest, I was never a fan of First Man's face supplements or whatever he was selling. It was like a diuretic for your face to be leaner or something. Literally just lose weight. Like it's just, that's all you need to do. So I may look at this timeshare thing. On the other hand, I don't want to just become a channel that constantly talks about First Man and Hamza. So if I make the First Man timeshare thing, it might be later on. However, it could be too late to the point where the topic isn't relevant anymore. Maybe he'll promote his timeshare again in a few months and then I can make a video on it. I'm just glad you guys are aware that timeshares are a scam. They were even a scam when I was a kid. I remember seeing it on a Futurama episode. But yeah, don't buy a timeshare. Buy actual real estate for you to live in yourself, or an actually profitable investment property. Not sure what my next videos will be, but they'll probably revolve around the new stat in the game of life, the relationship stat, or maybe some little life update. Either way, I'll try to have a shorter video since no doubt this video will become a pain in the ass to edit after a while. So that'll do it. Hopefully you understand why whatever value in Adonis School is not worth the price. I'll see you in the comments. Get your popcorn ready. No doubt it'll be a nice shit show down below. Thanks for watching. That is all.